it. And along with the Movember team, we sort of created this digital pop-up tattoo parlour where people could come and get their tattoos.
So how long do they last? Is it just the moustache that you get put on?
You can have a moustache, or there was a much bigger one, which was a bit more of a commitment, with a guy with a really sort of substantial moustache.
Is that the one that Will Poulter's
That's
got?
Exactly right.
Yeah, I thought I saw a picture of that. So Will Poulter, the actor, of course, has got involved. How much difference does it make having big names backing the cause?
It's absolutely massive. Obviously, awareness for the cause, awareness for why we grow moustaches is the most important thing. Having sort of those big names, and we're so lucky that so many celebrities do support the cause and grow moustaches for us every year.
Yeah, so we should talk about the cause. I mean, it's really about men's health issues and probably the biggest killers affecting men, isn't it? So talk us through the priorities of it.
Sure. So, Movember, they're looking to change the face of men's health, and concentrating on suicide and mental health, testicular and prostate cancers. Every 60 seconds around the world, somewhere a man takes his own life, which is way too many. In the UK, it's 13 per day. And I myself have had quite significant mental health struggles over the years. I grew a moustache for Movember when I was back at uni. Not really it was more kind of a friend's sort of thing. We did it as a rugby team. But it's sort of ingrained in me sort of the reason to talk about men's health. And as my situation sort of worsened, that sort of message for me meant I could reach out and speak to a friend in my sort of darkest hour. And doing that totally changed how I was feeling. I hadn't talked to anyone about it. I'd totally kept it under wraps, and everyone thought I was kind of in a really great place, but I absolutely wasn't. So that message of sort of reaching out to someone, talking to someone, asking people if they're okay, I'm really okay, is something that I really took from Movember, and it's why I now spend so much time supporting Movember too.
And do you think it is something that men are less good at opening up and talking and being honest about the struggles that they're dealing with?
I think so, definitely. I think it's kind of been ingrained in us for so many years that sort of men are big and strong, and you man up, you sort of boys don't cry sort of attitude. And I think that really kind of embeds within you the ability not to talk about how you're feeling and not to admit that you're feeling a bit rubbish. Or in some cases worse. And I think having the ability to open up to each other and talk about it is the best way, in my opinion, to start that journey to being okay with not being okay, and ultimately sort of helping yourself and others have better mental health, for sure.
Well, it's good to see you sitting here, presumably feeling a little bit better these days, and promoting such a good cause. Good luck with the moustache, it's coming along. Mine's not doing so well, but you can check in on me at the end of the month as well. Dan Aldis, really good to meet you. Thanks so much for coming in. We really appreciate it. Thanks very much indeed. So that's it for today. We've got lots more coming up in the next hour for you. Ian King Live is up next. Plenty of reaction to yesterday's decision by the Bank of England to raise interest rates and its warnings about the economy. So do stay tuned.
Begin your adventure and explore a vibrant, fully open world in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. Coming November 18th, only for Nintendo Switch.
Top stories live from the Sky News City studio. A big rate rise and a recession warning from the Bank of England, but what does it mean for investors? Electric vehicles drive a surge in new vehicle registrations, but charging points aren't keeping up with the pace. Closing the UK's skills gap, I'll be joined by the chief executive of the global language learning app Duolingo. Plus, industrial origami, the Swedish startup using cutting-edge technology to produce its electric motorcycles. Good morning, this is Ian King live, an hour of business and economic news from the heart of the city. Now, the Bank of England yesterday did what the US Federal Reserve had done a day earlier and raised its main policy rate by 0.75%. But there, the comparison ends. The Fed made clear that it expects to raise US interest rates higher than the market has been currently pricing in, while the bank said it does not expect UK rates to peak at the level the markets expect. So what happens next, and what should investors make of it all? Well, joining me now is Wei Li. She's Global Chief Investment Strategist at BlackRock. Wei, good to see you this morning. On the face of it, the issues are pretty similar, but why is the Fed so much more hawkish than the bank, do you think?
Well, there are some similarities between the UK and the US in that both countries are in a new regime where inflation is much shaped by supply constraint. And also the similarity here is that in 2022, central banks are likely going to err on the side of over-tightening in order to fight inflation at all costs. And that is likely going to lead to a recession. In the UK, we see a recession this year and also a recession coming in the US. But where the differences are could be, in the case of the UK, still challenges remaining around fiscal credibility, really residual challenges from the mini budget earlier in the quarter, and also thinking about the significant market repricing for peak rates in the UK versus the peak rates in the US. Maybe the central banks see the terminal rates kind of peaking at different points. I would also say one last thing about the UK, which is that we are going to see the budget released soon, the revised budget released soon. And Bank of England was unable to explicitly acknowledge just how much weaker growth could be in response to the fiscal tightening that is to come. And I think that is also behind why there is a difference in the nuances when it comes to central bank policy rate guidance.
You mentioned just now the risk of over-tightening. I presume you think that's less of a risk specifically for the Bank of England following the comments it made yesterday?
While in both the case of the UK and the US, we see that the central banks will have to engineer a recession through over-tightening in order to fight inflation, in order to fight this cost of living crisis. We see the Bank of England peak rate at 4.25%, which is lower than market peak rate pricing because of the fiscal tightening that is coming in lieu of the revised budget that is to come. We don't see the same fiscal tightening happening in the US, which is why peak rate that we forecast for the Fed is at 5%, which is somewhat similar to market pricing. But that's really where the differences end, in that actually the similarity is the prevalent narrative, which is that in a world shaped by supply, central banks are likely going to have to over-tighten. They will have to hike rates into restrictive territory. In fact, we are already in restrictive territory when it comes to monetary policy, and that is needed in order to bring about the inflation that they acknowledge will be needed in order to bring down inflation. This is a very tough trade-off environment, very, very different from the great moderation of the past 40 years.
Absolutely. I mean, equity markets had a very good October in anticipation that tightening was coming to an end. What did they get so wrong? Why did they get that wrong?
I think there is still a mentality in markets about buying the dip, about mean revert. And I think markets rallied in October because so far year to date, things have been just so terrible, both in equities and bonds, that they have to, the rationale goes, they have to kind of mean revert. But actually, in light of the new regime and the tougher trade-off and what that means for equity risk premium, what that means for term premium, we don't think mean revert is the strategy here. And any hopes for premature dovish pivot is, as I said, premature because core inflation is persistent and sticky. And in 2022, the focus of central banks, both for the Bank of England as well as for the Fed, is really inflation fighting at all costs. Somewhere next year, first half of next year, maybe, we do see that the damage of this cumulative rate tightening becomes more apparent. So in the case of the US, we are expecting if the Fed is very serious about bringing down inflation to 2%, it means 2% shock to growth in 2023, and also 3 million people on top of existing to be out of a job, pushing unemployment rates to 5%. So this is the sort of the magnitude of the cost of fighting inflation at all costs. So at some point, that damage is going to become clear first half of next year. And that's when we believe the Fed and the Bank of England would pause its current very aggressive rate hike schedule. But until then, it's going to be inflation fighting at all costs. And we would prefer to bunker down, hiding in short-ended part of the government bond market and getting paid really quite well for that as we wait for risk sentiment to turn around. So we're underweight developed market equities across the board, including UK equities.
All right, Wei, we have to leave it there. It's really enjoyable talking to you this morning. Thank you very much indeed.
Likewise.
Now, new car registrations rose by 26.4% in October. It was the third month of growth in a row, according to the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders. Plug-ins accounted for 21.5% of new registrations, but the SMMT has warned this morning that the UK's charging infrastructure is not keeping up. Well, just 55 electric vehicles were registered in 2009. That was the year that Eric Fairbairn founded the EV charging company Pod Point. The company has now installed 175,000 chargers across the UK, and it's the only EV charging company listed on the London stock market. And Eric Fairbairn, I'm pleased to say, joins me now. Eric, welcome to you. What did you make of the SMMT figures this morning? I mean, clearly take-up of EVs is gathering pace.
Good morning, Ian. Yes, well, as you say, an increase in EV registrations is highly positive. But I think we have to look at it in perspective. So yes, in October, 23% increase year on year in electric vehicles. But last year, so if we did 20 to 21, we were running at 76% increase in electric vehicles year on year. So really, it's the silver lining in a pretty cloudy automotive industry. And what's going on? Well, the answer is the supply chain crisis is stopping the car companies getting enough product to market. So we have got loads of demand in the UK for electric vehicles, but we can't seem to get the car companies, can't seem to get the product out quick enough. So if you wanted as a consumer to buy an electric vehicle today, you should be reasonably expecting a 12 to 24 month wait until your electric vehicle comes through. So my thesis here is there is some good growth, but really what we need is a freeing up of the supply chain crisis, more electric vehicles to market and allow all of that demand to get served. So I think we've got, some good signs there, but really if we had more products, it would be an even greater story in terms of growth rates.
Presumably these hold-ups in delivery of EVs, though, is quite good news for the charging industry, because it means that you can carry on building out capacity and not risk the possibility of supply not keeping up with demand.
So, and we are building capacity at an immense rate, of course, Ian, and you mentioned we've got 175,000 charging points out there. But I think the challenge is the shot that you just had on screen of a rapid charge point. That's the thing that people tend to look at. But the reality is most people are charging their electric vehicles at home or at the workplace. So although we've of course got to build more charging infrastructure, the reality is if you can charge your car at the workplace or at home, you can get a great electric vehicle driving experience today. 60% of the population can charge their car at home. And that's actually everything you need for the vast majority of people. So I really think the SMMT is massively overplaying the charging issue. And actually the focus of the problem here is we need more vehicle supply. We've got the demand, the consumers want the product, we need more vehicle coming into the UK, and actually using the charging excuses perhaps wide of the mark in terms of what's really going on in this industry.
Looking at your business, you have various income streams. You have a sort of fleet business, you're partnering with the likes of Tesco. Where is growth going to be strongest for you in coming years?
So, of course, we've got, I think systemic growth in charging and electric vehicles for the next 15 or 20 years here. And, we've got the government banning internal combustion engines from 2030. At the moment, as we said in October, we've got something like 17 or 18% of new cars are electric. That's got to be 100% of new cars have got to be electric by 2030. So we have just got immense growth. And so from a charging perspective, we've got to build four things. We've got to build home charge. We've got to build workplace charging, we've got to build destination charging, and we've got to build some en route charging. We have to build all four parts of those. Charging is an ecosystem. And the bit that people tend to look at before they've got an electric vehicle, the thing that feels a bit like a petrol station, a rapid charge point, that's typically 3% of the charging occasion for the typical EV driver. 97% of charging happens in other places. And that's why often this charging challenge is overplayed. The reality is most people who've got electric vehicles are having a wonderful charging experience. People who haven't yet bought an electric vehicle are perhaps looking at the place thinking, I'm going to do all my charging at a rapid charger. They're really probably not. They're going to do about 3% of their charging there. So yes, we've got some more building to do, but I do think it's completely unfair to suggest that it's the charging industry which is currently holding this back. We need more electric vehicles to meet the customers' demand at the moment.
OK, Eric, I've got to ask you about this. You'll hate to point it out to you, your stock price has fallen by 80% this year. You've got an immense competitive threat from the likes of BP, who are investing £1 billion in charge points between now and the end of the decade. What's the market not getting about you right now?
So I think the market has got two things going on, really. One is a general sort of flow out from sort of, fast growth stocks into sort of, away from people like Pod Point. That's obviously impacted us. Also, this car registration, as we talked about, 23% up in October feels good until you realise that, the previous year it was all running at 76. We've got a temporary slowdown in the rollout of electric vehicles due to this supply chain issue. But what I think we've got is an extremely exciting long-term proposition. So if you're thinking very short-term, this supply chain issue is a bit of a challenge. If you can sort of zoom out and look a bit further, you've got an extremely exciting opportunity there. And the other thing I think is I see no reason reason that the public is looking to the oil majors to enable the next revolution in transport. The oil majors are responsible for, a significant chunk of the climate change issue we're currently staring at. Why would the consumer go to the oil majors in order to enable the next technology, the electric vehicle, which is the correction for hundreds of years of carbon dioxide being poured into the atmosphere, thanks to people burning dinosaur juice, thanks to the large oil majors. So I don't see necessarily that the oil majors are going to win the next phase of building the charging infrastructure. I don't think the public is going to necessarily think that's the right thing to do. And they'll be looking for mission-driven companies like Pod Point to put the charging infrastructure in. And frankly, we're correcting for all of that carbon that's been put into the atmosphere historically. So I think we've got a very good chance in the future against, as you say, some of the oil majors.
All right, Eric, good to talk to you this morning. Thanks very much indeed for joining me.
Thank you.
Some other business news stories for you now. And the furniture retailer and manufacturer DFS said this morning it had enjoyed a pickup in orders in recent weeks. The UK's biggest living room furniture retailer warned 7 weeks ago that the upholstery market had softened markedly since April and had been in significant decline during July and August. But it said this morning that since then it had seen a pickup in demand, with order volumes up both on last year but also on the pre-COVID period in 2019. Well, the news comes days after the company's online-only rival Made.com collapsed into administration. Shares of DFS are up 1.5% this morning. Drug maker AstraZeneca said today that its treatment for RSV, which is a respiratory tract disease in newborns and infants, has been approved for sale in the EU. Beyfortus, a long-acting antibody, was developed in partnership with the French drug maker Sanofi. RSV is a common and highly contagious seasonal virus infecting nearly all children by the age of 2. In 2019, there were 33 million cases worldwide, leading to more than 3 million hospitalisations and the deaths of around 26,300 children under the age of 5. And Twitter is expected to tell employees this morning whether they have kept their jobs following the social media platform's takeover last week by Elon Musk. Well, the world's richest man has already fired the company's chief executive and chief financial officer, as well as removing all members of its board. Staff are expected to be told by 4 o'clock this afternoon UK time whether or not they will be kept on, with reports suggesting Mr Musk is seeking to cut 3,700 jobs, which is around half the workforce. Now, as the Bank of England raised its policy rate to a 14-year high yesterday, it cited the continuing signs of firmer inflation in domestic prices. Well, that was something that Simon Roberts, the Sainsbury's chief executive, flagged repeatedly when I caught up with him yesterday. The UK's second largest supermarket chain reported an 8% drop in underlying half-year profits, which partly reflected higher costs. Its raised staff paid twice this year, and its decision to invest £500 million in price cuts by the end of March next year.
Look, day in, day out, we're working really hard to keep our prices as low as we possibly can, because that's what our customers need us to do. Of course, as inflation in energy and the cost of living and food prices has gone up, customers are watching every penny and every pound. And what we're doing is doing everything we can across our company to put as much into lowering prices as we can. And that's why we're inflating behind the market. Prices at Sainsbury's are going up slower than anywhere else at the moment.
What kind of assumptions are you making on the future trajectory of food price inflation? Where do you see it peaking?
Well, of course, there's a lot of pressure in the system. We can all see that, and we're hearing about it, aren't we? The cost of producing goods, the cost of energy to make the food that we buy and eat every day, the cost of labour, and the cost of a lot of the raw materials and ingredients. So there's more pressure in the system on inflation as we look ahead, I think, which is why we're so focused at Sainsbury's in making sure we keep our prices as low as we possibly can. And particularly at this time of year, of course, there's people are thinking ahead to the Christmas period. Everyone's watching every penny and every pound at the moment. And so as there's pressure on inflation, that's the reason why we're battling so hard to make sure that we keep prices as low as we can.
I think you've said today that some consumers are actually spreading their Christmas purchases. They're already buying ahead of Christmas.
No, we've absolutely seen that, Ian. I think, for all the obvious reasons, all of us are looking to spread the cost of Christmas, aren't we? And we saw, earlier in the autumn, customers starting to plan ahead for Christmas. We've seen, at the end of the month, when the paychecks have been coming in, people have been thinking ahead for Christmas. And that's meant, I think, that customers are really thoughtful about what they might want to buy now, maybe ahead of when they would normally have done it. But But of course, we've got 7 to 8 weeks, 7 weeks to Christmas now. And, I think we're yet to see how consumer spending patterns will really pan out this Christmas. I think budgets are very tough, as we know, for millions of households. And so it's really this month we'll see to what extent customers are going to really pull back their spending this year. There will always inevitably be supply chain challenges, but in the main, I think we're in a good place for this Christmas with a World Cup, clearly just before Christmas this year for the first time. So that will bring a different, set of challenges into the mix the week before Christmas as everyone plans for those occasions. But we think we're in good shape. And the most important thing that we're thinking about every day is how do we keep our prices as low as we possibly can for customers? And how do we make sure as we go into Christmas that we've got good availability of everything that people want to buy?
You mentioned the World Cup there. I mean, this is a real challenge for you, isn't it? How are you going to get consumers to sort of switch their mindset from buying in beer and pizzas one moment to sort of Christmas decorations the next?
I think you make a really good point. It's happening in such close succession, isn't it, in terms of World Cup into Christmas? Obviously, depending how much progress we make through the World Cup itself, it's going to be very close indeed, I think, with the Sunday before Christmas, potentially the final. So look, I think it's very much on our mind. We've been planning for it for a long period of time. And, I think what we're going to see through the rest of the autumn and into winter is that customers are going to spend more time at home. So I think in many ways we'll see the World Cup, we think, being more of a at-home occasion, perhaps than we would see in the summer. We're going to have lots of great products and lots of great value for family and friends wanting to get together to enjoy the match. And we'll be making sure we do the best job for customers as they prepare for that. And then straight into Christmas, as you say. And of course, the last few days to Christmas are always the busiest. And so look, we've got fantastic colleagues and teams across our business preparing for this at the moment to make sure that we don't let customers down and we give them everything that they want.
That was Simon Roberts from Sainsbury's. Now, a lot of the focus on making vehicles greener has been on converting them to electric rather than being powered by fossil fuels. But my next guest has been revolutionising the way the vehicles themselves are made. The Swedish electromobility and industrial tech startup Stillride uses robotic arms to fold steel over curves to create shapes which have been used to build its inaugural electric motorcycle. The process has been described as industrial origami, and the company's just raised €3.7 million to help fund its rollout. Well, joining me now is the chief executive and co-founder of Stillride, Jonas Nyvang. Jonas, welcome to you. What are the advantages to this as a manufacturing process?
Oh, there are several advantages. We reduce the environmental impact. The structures become lighter, and we take the flexibility into a simple piece of paper by actually folding with software and robotic tools and into complex designs, including curves. And this has never been done before. It's exciting because these structures are way more sustainable, lighter, and takes less energy to create.
You're going to put a whole generation of panel beaters out of business.
Yes, I think actually we add to the panel beaters toolbox in a way, so we can add more refinement into their processes, and we can actually enable them to produce higher, more beautiful, refined, complex designs.
And how did you come up with the idea?
It all started because my co-founder and I really loved origami and were fascinated by how complex designs could emerge from a simple piece of paper. So we started thinking, what else can you create with the same technique? What other materials could you use? We took that as an inspiration and built software and robotic tools that can take flat sheets of steel and fold them into complex designs, including curves. This has never been done before, and it's exciting because the structures are way more sustainable. We're using this technique now to build our own electric motorcycle called Stillride. And next, we're exploring how we can use it in electric cars, steel bridges, and we're even developing ways to fold steel in space.
Yes, I gather you're working with the European Space Agency. What sort of things are you working on with them?
And we're using our technology into actually fold structures that can be folded in the spacecrafts, or can be used as a way to construct things in other planets, and that's a really exciting area which we're exploring right now.
And in terms of the motorcycles, how many will you be looking to sell on the first production run?
Oh, well, as many as possible. I think the demand is there. We have 135,000 requests so far, so we have a lot to catch up on in terms of demand.
That's 135,000, crikey. What will be the sort of starting price?
The starting price will be around £8,000, so it's a premium motorcycle.
Wow. And you've got 135,000 expressions of interest. There's obviously a lot of people with a lot of money out there, Jonas.
Yeah, we're really excited about the times that are coming ahead, and we think that we're really excited to get this and see where we can take the whole project and explore it into new territories. Really revolutionize the thing, transform the way we actually can make things.
All right. Well, it's a fascinating story. I hope to hear from you again in future. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks a lot, Ian.
Well, the pound has perked up a little this morning following yesterday's sell-off, following dovish remarks from the Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey. As you can see, sterling currently up by 0.5% against the US dollar, up by just over 0.25% right now against the euro. The dollar's on the back foot this morning. The euro is up 1/3% against the greenback. On the equity market, stocks in the Asia-Pacific region enjoyed a largely positive session overnight, with the Hang Seng in Hong Kong rising by more than 5% on growing hopes of a China easing lockdown restrictions and an easing in US-China tensions. Well, the Hang Seng is now up 10% so far this month, and we're only 4 days into it. That's the best start the Hang Seng has made to a month in 7 years. Well, in Europe, stocks are also trading largely to the upside. Here's the current picture. All of the main continental European indices up by 1% or so, with the exception of the IBEX in Madrid. Talking points this morning include Société Générale. Shares of the third largest French bank, they're up by some 5% in Paris after quarterly earnings came in ahead of expectations. Well, here in London, the FTSE 100 is also in positive territory, currently 78 points to the good. That's a rise of just over 1%. Is a broad-based rally led by some of the mining heavyweights. The leading blue-chip gainers in percentage terms this morning, though, well, it's the Hong Kong exposed stocks, including the likes of Prudential, up by 6.25%, Standard Chartered up 2.5%, and HSBC also up by some 2.5%. Outside the FTSE, the thermal product specialist Morgan Advanced Materials, the shares there up by some 13.5%. That is on a trading update. While the specialty chemicals group Synthoma, the shares there up by nearly 6% on reports that its largest shareholder wants to raise its stake. Well, I mentioned the fact that the dollar's on the back foot this morning, and that has helped the oil price. That's put in a bit of a rally this morning on the back of the weaker dollar. Barrel of Brent crude will currently set you back $97.17 a barrel. That is up just over 2.5% on the session. Well, joining me now is Victoria Scholar. She's Head of Investment at Interactive Investor. Welcome to you, Victoria. This Hang Seng rally is quite something. We're only 4 days into November and it's up 10%.
That's right. We're seeing huge gains in the session today, rallying by more than 5%. And the property and tech sector indices were really leading the charge, up by more than 10% at one stage. And the HSI has now logged its best week since November of 2011. And as you mentioned, this is all about speculation that China could be starting to ease some of those draconian, strict COVID restrictions that have really weighed on economic activity. So if those could ease in the coming months, and of course, this is going to be highly supportive for the Chinese equity market, which has come under heavy selling pressure lately. But at the moment, it's only really based on social media rumors. And the Chinese foreign ministry actually said that it's not aware of the issue. But clearly, the markets are taking the speculation as a sense that this could actually be set to happen. And like you say, this is having positive momentum across some stocks on the FTSE 100, the likes of the China-sensitive companies like Rio Tinto and Prudential and Anglo American, all up by more than 6%, which of course comes as a welcome surprise for some investors in Prudential, especially because shares are down by more than 30% this year.
Yes, I noticed it's the start of the Hong Kong Sevens in rugby for the first time in 3 years. Probably a bit of exuberance being added to by that as well. Mentioned the dollar just now. It's obviously on the back foot this morning, but I mean, sterling has sold off pretty significantly this week against the dollar, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I think on both sides of the ledger, the dollar against the pound, we've seen downside pressure for sterling and upside pressure from the dollar. And that's because of sort of conflicting messages that we've seen from both central banks. The Fed implying that interest rates are actually going to peak higher than expected, and the Bank of England saying that actually the financial markets are pricing in too aggressive interest rate increases. So that's why we've been seeing pressure on cable, the pound against the dollar. We are seeing the pound regain a bit of ground today, trading around 112, but it's lost almost 3.5% this week. And, you know, we came off the back of a very strong month for October. It's essentially wiped out most of those gains now.
Now, we get the big event of the month in financial data terms this lunchtime, the US non-farm payrolls. I mean, you mentioned the Fed just now. I mean, another big number, I guess, is going to just encourage the Fed to go again with another 3/4 point hike in next time round.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what we're expecting, we're looking at somewhere around 200,000, which actually would be slowing from the previous month, which was 263,000. And the unemployment rate is expected to deteriorate slightly as well. But whether we actually...
Oh, Victoria, I think we've lost you, Victoria. Oh, no. Go on.
Are you there?
Yeah. Keep going.
Sorry. So essentially, you know, we're looking at a softer number from the NFP today, but it doesn't necessarily chime with what we saw from the other labour market data this week, because we saw the ADP private employment report, which tends to be a precursor for the NFP, actually top expectations. And we saw the JOLTS job openings figure on Monday. That also came in ahead of expectations. But it's kind of a sense that good news can be bad news, because when we have strength in the labour market, that seems to suggest that the Fed can continue to be aggressive in terms of its rate hiking path. So if we actually get a softer number today, that actually could be market positive.
All right, Victoria, good to see you this morning. Thank you. Still to come here on Ian King Live. The founder of the language learning app Duolingo will be joining me. Don't go away.
Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe.
strategy to make the UK a global tech superpower. Well, that remains a key objective, with closing the skills gap a key means of achieving it. But how to go about doing that? Well, joining me now is Luis von Ahn. He's founder of Duolingo, the US-based educational technology company. Luis, welcome to you. Is the UK digitising its education system as fast as some of its peers?
Well, I think the UK is doing a relatively good job, but there's always more that can be done. With Duolingo, we try to teach people languages. One of the things that we've heard while I've been here in the UK is that a lot of people are not learning languages as much here. However, our own numbers show that people are really learning a lot more languages in the UK. We've seen a lot of growth here. So I think a lot of people are just turning to things like apps to learn more things.
That's very encouraging to hear. Now, I mean, we think of Duolingo as a language learning app, but you've just launched a maths app.
We did. Just last week, we launched an app to learn mathematics. You can download it. It's called Duolingo Math. What we're hoping to do with Duolingo Math is the same thing we did for languages, but for math, where basically we get millions of people throughout the world to get better at math. It turns out that about 95% of the population has math anxiety, and that's true in the UK as well. And we're hoping to just make it so that people start loving math more than they did before.
Absolutely. I mean, that would be a major productivity boost, wouldn't it? Now, I mean, a lot of your success has been put down to things like gamification and leaderboards. Are other ed tech companies missing a trick in not going for this approach?
I think so. I mean, I'm a big believer that the hardest thing about learning something by yourself, certainly learning a language by yourself, is staying motivated. And so we spend a lot of effort trying to get people to stick around. We deliver education through a phone. A phone is an amazing delivery mechanism because it's pretty cheap to deliver education through a phone. But phones have the problem that they come with TikTok or they come with Instagram. So if you want to deliver education through a phone, you need to make your education be able to compete for time with things like TikTok or Instagram, which is why we spend a lot of effort trying to make Duolingo be as fun as possible.
Very good point. Well, I mean, from a straw poll of colleagues, it sounds like the whole of Sky News is on Duolingo right now. I mean, how many UK users do you have right now?
We've had over 20 million people in the UK study languages, and they're one of the amazing things about the UK is that the two most common learned languages are Spanish and French, but there's a lot of local UK languages that are being learned. For example, a lot of people are learning Welsh, a lot of people are learning Scots Gaelic, a lot of people are learning Irish, which we're very happy about.
Do you think the fact that the UK is a more multicultural country than it once was is helping? I mean, we learned this week 1 in 6 people in England and Wales was now born outside the UK.
Yeah, I think that probably helps. I mean, it really is the case that, for us, the UK is our second largest market. We have users everywhere in the world. And the UK being our second largest market should tell you something. There's just a lot of people wanting to learn languages.
You've been quite strident on this point on migration. You think this is one thing that's really holding the UK back?
Well, I mean, I'm not, while I've been here, I've been talking to a lot of people about immigration. I'm of course, not an expert in US immigration, but my sense is that if the UK wants to remain competitive in the world, similar to the US, especially in a world where China has 1.1 billion people, my sense is that, being able to recruit the best from everywhere is a competitive advantage that the UK has.
All right, Luis, we have to leave it there. Come and see us again soon. It's been great talking to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, not so long ago, Kazakhstan had a pretty patchy reputation with UK investors following a series of high-profile scandals involving UK-listed companies based in the country. But a report out today suggests that attitudes may be changing thanks to economic and political reforms.
Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe.
SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
For the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
I can see the joy bubbling over since you met the Lord. I can see that love has taken over. And then
Right, good morning.
you can't deny. Oh,
Time check from our studio is exactly 45 minutes past the hour of 10. We sincerely apologize for the late start of the program. My name is Frank Davis, sitting in for Achi Hammond.
That you don't regret it at all. I can tell the world about my Savior, for He's my baby.
Without wasting time, we're going to go straight to the weather update, the transport update. Fellas, I say good morning to you. Actually, whatever you, I say good morning to you. Our producer, Francis Guy, I say good morning to you. Dr. Martin, good morning.
He's the great.
Mr. David Clutcher, good morning. See you tomorrow.
Sweet salvation.
Allow us a good morning to you. Allow me to join us at exactly 11 o'clock with an update from Nigeria.
Devotion, you can tell it. You can tell every nation that you don't regret it at all.
For those of you who are joining us across the globe, I say special good morning to you. I'll bring you the greetings as we proceed. Our phone lines will be open.
Jesus in your life now.
If you're outside the UK or the US, please do join us on our Facebook. You can also join us on our WhatsApp line. That's 0044 753 966 1744. I'll take that again. Plus 4475 3966 1744.
You can't deny. Sweet salvation.
UK remains 28 yet Nigerian for stabbing mother to death. A Ghanaian and account say we see a plan Ben. Sister Gina, say good morning to you.
Every nation that you don't regret it at all. Oh, what a sweet salvation. Oh, what sweet salvation. My Lord.
Don't worry about my voice. Just listen to the tune
Devotion.
and the message in there.
Tell it. You can tell every nation that you don't regret it at all. And you can tell it from the world, yeah. You can tell every nation,
This
that
is Starr
you don't regret it at all. And you can tell it from the world, yeah. You can tell every nation that you don't regret it at all. You don't regret it, that you.
All right, we can tell every nation that we do not regret it at all. Let's go straight to our weather update, and from there we'll move straight to our transport update, and then we'll move straight to Nigeria. Wherever you are, I will say special good morning to you, and we appreciate you. We actually respect the time you've taken to actually join us on the show. Like I said, my name is Frank Davis, and I'm sitting in for Achi Hammond, who can't be with us this morning as a result of some and what basically unpredictable incidents. But you know, something is happening in the studio behind the scene, and Archie is seeing to that. Archie is seeing to that. All right, let's go straight for our weather updates. We're going to be very, very, very swift with this updates. We're not going to waste time at all. Time is almost against us. When it comes to the UK, this afternoon we'll see mostly dry condition with loads of sunshine. A few patches of cloud will linger at times with showers possible in the far north of Scotland and northwestern England. Fellas, what is the weather condition there in Scotland? Aberdeen, to be precise. Tonight will start dry and clear for most, but northern Scotland, against Scotland, the picture will see lingering showers. A band of rain will move across Northern Ireland to northwest England and whirls through the early hours. So for those of us who are southeast, the London areas, I think we've been spared a little bit for now. But like I said, I always say British weather is unpredictable. If someone tells you think and you act like the British weather, please, the person has actually told you something very, very important. Right, so let's go straight. That brings us to, let's look at the temperatures. In terms of temperatures today, this evening, yesterday it was a bit very cold, a little bit. Tonight we're going to be having temperatures running up to about 5 degrees. Presently, we're even going to have 2 degrees some places, creating where we are, and a lot of London area we should expect up to about 2 degrees. Currently we're looking at between 9, 11 and 8 across the UK. By tomorrow again we'll be hovering around 5 to 12 degrees. That's where the temperatures will be. That will bring us to the end of our weather update. Let's go straight to the transport update. When it comes to transport, we actually start looking at what is happening in London, and then we'll focus on the other part of the world, wherever you are, depending on your geographical location. If you are in Kosovo, your weather transport might be different, but this is reference to the UK starting from London. Let's go. Let's see what is happening as we jump on this train with K Morris, who said that the train is about to start. Let's see what is going on over there. All right. All right. 824, 84, 841 Central London Red Routes, South Circular. We do have closures on those London line. And when it comes to A3, we are told that there's serious delays over there. I will bring you that. On the A205, Lordship Lane, that is in Southwark area, we do have a bit of problem over there. Now, what is causing the severe delay on A3 and the South Circular? When it comes to A3, we're looking at traffic situation again around Trinity Road. You're looking at Wandsworth area. Upper Norwood, we also have Upper Richmond, we also have a bit of a problem. But then Roehampton, we do have a problem again over there, happen to do utility issues. Now let's go straight to A405, A406. We do have a problem with Great West Road. That's WT. That's the Hounslow area. There's a bit of problem over here. Great West Road. We have both direction between Holgate Roundabout and Chiswick Roundabout. We do have various restrictions. So basically, it has to do with restrictions resulting in severe delays as well. So you should be very outplanned. Hendon area, we also do have a bit of problem over there. So all those of you driving from Golders Green, Wembley and all those areas, the caution is there are serious delays on that route. Apart from that, we do not have any other major incidents to report on the road. Let's go straight because of time to our buses, no major incidents to report. When it comes to our river buses, apart from Woolwich Ferry, which is running a special service, all others are running as they should. When it comes to our national rail, let's go straight to our national rails. As national rail final data, there seems to be in good service without any major disruption to report about. That said, that brings us to the end of our transport update. Like I told you, we're going to be running like a jet or with a hypersonic engine. That's what we're going to be doing, and we brought that to the end for this morning. Time checks exactly 54 minutes by the hour of 11. Let's look at a bit of headlines at 11 o'clock. We'll be reading ourselves for allowing me to join that. Declining consumption, challenges of retail business. That's in Africa. Ethiopia Tigran residents welcome the peace agreement with caution. Guinea junta orders prosecution of former leader Conde and ex-minister. That's what we are being told. Egypt returns to solar power to reduce farming costs and emissions. That's what I think that's a good, appropriate technology. Senegal opposition leader claims innocence in rape case. According to news, the opposition leader is being charged and accused of rape. He's claiming innocence, saying these are political witch hunting and political games. New UN report finds two-thirds of South Sudan population face hunger. Ethiopia marks 2-year war anniversary. We can report this month. Tanzania says Mount Kilimanjaro fire largely contained. Kenya athletes tainted by new doping scandal. We'll go into that. Scandals. We know our brothers and sisters in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and all those areas, Ethiopia, when it comes to athletics, they do a lot of good work. But I was so much impressed about what happened. Was it the World Athletics this year? Nigerians actually seems to have picked up and egged them on, because we've got a lot of talents over there. One of the ladies, I've forgotten her name, actually did amazingly well, and we expect them to progress. We expect them to go forward again. We'll continue to pray for them that they should. We wish we can help them. If there's any donation that we can, yet we'll do it to help them. But for now, they actually did a marvelous job, and I adore my heart out for them. So let's go to other headlines, and then we will be reading ourselves. So allow me to join us pretty shortly for the headlines. Let's look at what is happening. Those headlines are coming from the Albania gang luring migrant to the UK, right? That is the home of, but we're going to be looking at it. Are these basically and deliberately stoking fire in the migrant crisis so they can hide the inefficiencies that they've brought about? Do not forget, the Tories have been in power for 12 years, right? So they cannot be blaming anyone again. They cannot be blaming anyone again. I think we do have a call on our what they call WhatsApp line, but I'm not going to be able to pick that line at the moment. Please, the lines will be open. A call is coming on the WhatsApp line, but we're not going to be picking it at the moment. We'll pick them once the lines are open. So the UK says, well, the Albanian gangs luring migrants to the UK. That's what it's saying. So everybody is a victim of a gang member. We cannot tell. Johnson had numbers to challenge Sunak. That's why the Tories are saying that Johnson had over 100 numbers, but decided not to do it. That is why they're saying. As to whether that is true, we can't tell. As to whether that is true, we can't tell. But that's what a top Tory said. Sir Graham Bradley says the former PM had enough nomination to replace Liz Truss. Now the Brexiteers, we're going to be talking about them a lot. I call the research group that has been backing them Economic Ruin Group. That is my way of addressing them. They call them the Economic Research Group, but I have always called them Economic Ruin Group. And what we're facing now, almost everything was predicted that if you Brexit, these are the likely consequences. This morning we are hearing that up to about 75 million pounds of fruits got destroyed in the farms because there were no laborers, no labor force to be able to harvest. So if you go to the shops and your apples, your oranges, your the strawberries that they grow a lot of them are getting expensive. Then what? Blame them. L, good morning to you. My friend L, our brother L was a Brexiteer. L, it's because of you that things are increasing, and I'm not going to stop saying it. Some of you who voted to Brexit, you are one of them. So all the Brexiteers, this is how far you've brought us. Money of energy scheme launches to avoid blackouts. Right, this is an interesting scheme which we're going to be looking at, especially when it comes to what is happening in Nigeria, past my neighbor, the generators, and then what is happening in Ghana, Africa, where we do have light-offs, power cuts, and all those cool meanings. Look, the good news here we are being told that in an attempt to avert power cuts, people who use electricity, some of you will be persuaded to use electricity less. So for instance, if you wash a lot during the day, they're going to be able to tell you, look, can you turn your washing machine on at night? Someone asks, how do we know? They say, well, you'll be able to install a smart meter, and the consumption over there will be able to gather enough information to tell the type of appliances and your consumption pattern. So the appeal here is this, right? If you are able to do that, the government or the power network will send you money, and you could save up to about 100 Ghana, up to about £100 in actually shifting your working habit. Knowing when to turn your washing machine on, when not to turn on. You don't turn it on around this time because this time a lot of people are at work and they need energy. I said, if you do not do that, it's going to get to a point where what Ghanaians popularly call doomsday. Please, you can type it in your Google and you'll find it. What is doomsday in Ghana? DUMSO, sample add R to it. So please do it. Whichever way you look at it, a menu will come over there. Time check is exactly 11 o'clock. Let's go for a quick music break, and when we return, Ola will be our guest, and we'll push on with the morning show. Thank you very much. We'll be right back.
People, the train is about to leave the station. All aboard! I'm riding with Jesus on the hallelujah train. Oh, the devil can't stop me. No, no, for I am heaven bound. Though the road may be rocky, oh, many trials gone through. Oh Lord, I'm riding with Jesus, yes, on the hallelujah train. This train I'm riding is bound for glory. This train I'm riding carry the pure and the holy. Say I'm riding with Jesus on the hallelujah train. This train is bound for glory, yes, and it's a hallelujah train. Oh Lord, we'll tell the glad story, oh, of how we overcame. The angels' wings folded, oh, as we gather round the throne. Oh Lord, yes, I'm riding with Jesus, good Lord, on the hallelujah train. This train I'm riding is bound for glory. This train I'm riding carries the pure and the holy. I'm riding with Jesus on the hallelujah train. I'm riding with Jesus, yes, on the hallelujah train. Oh Lord, yeah. The devil can't stop me. Oh no, for I am heaven bound. My Lord, though the road may be rocky, oh yes, and many trials gone through, oh yes, I'm riding with Jesus, glory to God, on the hallelujah train. This train I'm riding is bound for glory. This train I'm riding carry the pure
All right, this train that we are riding on from Abuja all the way through Ekiti, through Zamfara, and we are now landing somewhere in Lagos. From there, we might go to Benin and ride to Odododua. Olame, good morning.
Well, a very good morning. I hope you can hear me.
Loud and clear. How are you?
Good morning to you, and I'm very good. Good morning to Archie. Good morning to all our presenter, and good morning to you, all the friends and family of Starr Radio UK. I'm doing very well, and it's good to be back. Even after a day off yesterday, I can call it.
Okay, all right, great. Olame, let me digress before we go to Nigeria. Why is it that when it comes to, I'm asking this question because it's linked to what our president in Ghana said a week ago. He said money does not like noise, and a lot of people have been debating, is he saying that the churches, the mosques, they don't call, I mean the call for prayer at dawn will make a bit of noise. The churches every Sunday, they make a lot of noise. Is that why we are poor? Is the president saying that some of these noises are what is scaring or causing the money to flee?
Well, I think looking at I think you're saying the first prayer of the day for the Muslim, which is at 6 o'clock, which depending on part of the globe that you are operating from. I mean, if you look at Nigeria, the first call will come in just before probably about 5 or 5:15, and then the next one goes in about an hour later. I'm not sure that is the reason why we are poor. It's just that we've not been able to have a genuine system that recognize who we are as people. And why do I say that? When I look back to the crisis happening in most, I could say Obasanjo trying to sort out the problem between Tigray and Ethiopia.
They have succeeded so far in crafting what they call a peace plan.
Well, I mean a peace plan, but if you come back to his own house that is leaking, we have the Biafra, the Odudua and the Middle Belt, that everyone is almost complaining about the injustice. So it is not actually the religion that is making us poor. It is the selfishness of not putting the right thing in place after the whole colonization in Africa from Ghana. Ghana had independence before Nigeria. I'm not sure whether the whole indigenous people are happy with that independence as against the kind of independence that we were given. Because if you look at the census in 1959, the census was actually rigged by almost 20-something million, because as at the time the northern part of Nigeria was just under 32 million, but we were given 54 million. And if you look at it today, they believe that they are the most powerful part of the country, and as one of the most biggest share of the Islamic side of Nigeria, they've actually used that as having Sharia law operating in a circular system. So if I wanted to set up a beer parlor in the northern part of Nigeria today, I will have to think twice, whether that will be tolerated. Even though when it comes to money coming from the from the alcohol taxes, the northern part of the country is more than welcome to take it. So in the reality, whether a call of prayer in the morning, is the reason why we are poor, I believe is a deliberate act. That the system across Africa have deliberately made Africa a poor place. I was actually watching a video that was released by the United Nations human rights yesterday, and I'll try and get that up so that we can listen to that this morning, since that is the area that we're going through this morning. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, as we are now going into some of the headlines and news coming from Nigeria. This is what United Nations Human Rights Watch said yesterday. The decision by the Nigerian Borno State government to shut down a scam for people displaced by Boko Haram conflict has pushed over 200,000 people into deeper suffering and destitution. Since the conflict started, over 1.8 million people have been displaced in Borno State.
Wow.
That is what the country has done. So in terms of the early morning call prayer, like we have said, it is not because of the religion that we are campaigning for a freedom. Religion is something personal. Good morning once again. This is Starr Radio UK. I'll come back slightly again to you back in the studio.
Olami, I like that ending being religion should be personal, because I deliberately asked that question because you see the attempts what you're going to see in come after this election, probably before the election, especially among the Biafrans and among the Yorubas, what is going to happen is, if they see that the tribal bond is becoming too strong and the agenda is solid, the religion arm will come in. So now within the same group, you're going to be having the Muslims say, is this the right thing to do? And the Christian will be saying, oh, but we have what they call, someone say infidels. The Christian will say, well, unbelievers. So all they have to know is that if you want something, you're going to unite. And religion is personal. It should not be used as a weapon at all. Ola, made the headlines.
Well, a very good morning once again, and let us start with the news yesterday in one of the most peaceful rally that went on in Shagamu yesterday, the 22nd of November, the 3rd of November rather, Thursday, where the military again is not respecting the rule of law and the international law, where as the rally was going on in Aton, in Shagamu axis, in Sango yesterday in southwest of Nigeria, where a peaceful rally has been put together. The military again opened, weapon. They were actually, using, their might that they've done, for decades. We are no longer in the military era, and we are now in a civilian rule. And the rule says, there's right to, gathering, there's right to protest, and that was exactly what was campaigning yesterday when the Yoruba went out yesterday, to campaign for, their self-determination. The military were also lying that weapon was removed from their vicinity when they were passing by. We can confirm officially that nothing of such did happen. The military, as always, used that same like the security, that each time a rally goes on, they are trying to infiltrate that rally, and the next thing you can hear is a weapon was removed. So that is coming from Nigeria, this morning. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. We go straight to some of the other headlines as we have them, this morning. Again, as President Muhammadu Buhari is still here in London, where we do not know exactly which hospital is receiving treatment. Nobody knows the kind of illness that is wrong with the president, but what we can say is Buhari regime complains about 59 million naira earmarked for presidential accommodation, but this time around won 644 million. I mean, you can imagine that the State House, medical is not fully working. And again, there is now up to more money being allocated, to the presidential accommodation. The permanent secretary of the State House, Tijani Umar, said the State House 2023 budget proposed 21.1 billion is lower than the 2022 appropriation of 40 billion, according to the news agency as well. UNICEF tells Buhari to rescue adopted Katsina children without delay. Well, Buhari is not in the country. I'm sure probably maybe somewhere in his oxygen, being taken care of by the best Nigerian doctors and nurses there in London, while 39 children have currently been kidnapped on Sunday, and no contact has been made, not even an attempt to rescue them, is coming from the headline. So UNICEF tells President Muhammadu Buhari to rescue the adopted Katsina children without delay. Let's go straight to the next headline. Nigeria's greatest asset is the NPC, the National Population Commission says Nigerian population remains its greatest asset. You tend to ask the question, what is the point of this, population that we talk about? I mean, we have countries that are just under 1.3 million. Estonia came out of, Soviet Union in 1991, about 32 years ago. Human right is seized when you don't have internet in Estonia. So when people say that the most populous black nation, the question is, what is the advantage when you have a population that almost 1.8 million, according to the UNICEF this morning, are children, mothers that have now been part of the Boko Haram conflict? And you cannot ask the question, is Nigeria truly, working when it comes to its population? According to the National Population Commission says, Nigeria population remains its greatest asset in national development. The National Population Commission, NPC, says Nigeria population remains its greatest asset in national development and must be harnessed to make life worth living. Let's go further. The NPC Federal Commission for Katsina, Bala Berye, stated this yesterday in Katsina at the 2-day level workshop on compendium of locality for 2023 population. I'm going to take one more headline and I come back again to you in the studio. It seems that the Afffairs leaders are still juggling, who is actually the leader and who is not the leader. But before we go in there, remember that it is now 5 days that that we are seeing Lagos State transportation almost completely wind down, even though there are more Nigerians in Lagos that are moving around, but it is very, very difficult and it is quite a bit expensive. According to the headline, Lagos Agbero untouchable because the government backing drivers, president is saying. The commercial driver in Lagos under the aegis of Joint Drivers Welfare Association of Nigeria have since Monday embarked on a warning strike and the boycott of the transport services across the state over the extortion by the Lagos State Parks and Garage Management. The president of the association, Abiodun Akande, discussed issues surrounding the strike. When did you embark on the strike in the first instance was the question that was asked. There is a court order by the Federal High Court Ikoyi. The order has been out since June 24, 2022, banning these people called Agbero. What is Agbero for somebody that is here in UK or watching us from somewhere in Africa? Agbero are the thugs, the touts that are used, to allow, to subject, bully in a way tactics for those that are applying, the routes in Lagos State. And they've been running this operation, for a very, very long time. But it seems that the Lagos State and the government have their backing, according to the president of the, the Joint Drivers Welfare Association. Banning these people from collecting money from us on the road. The court also ordered ban from harassment, intimidating, beating all our conductors and damaging our property. The court order also said that they should stop collecting any money whatsoever from us, but the Lagos State government refused to act on the court order. That is one of our grievances. Star Radio UK, 15 minutes past. I'll come back again to you in the studio, and when we come back, we'll take more headline out of Nigeria this morning, the 4th of November 2022, 15 minutes past the hour.
All right, Olame, thank you very much for those our updates. And if you're listening to us and you join at this Star Radio UK, and we are now taking updates live from Olame, updates from Nigeria. Olame, about this Agbero issue, and the second other issue I want to look at is this trend of disregard and disrespect for the rule of law. It is now becoming a trend that once people do have a bit of power, be it the federal government or the local government, even if the courts backed by the constitution, because do not forget the courts and the judges over there are empowered by the so-called constitution. Now, if these people give orders, it's now becoming habitual to see the state authorities disrespecting such rulings or such orders. I mean, what is going on in Nigeria, Olame?
Well, when it comes to the government, whether from the state or the federal, just as we saw that Nnamdi Kanu court case seems to be headlong with the federal government. The federal government refused to accept his own judicial system, and that is something that a lot of organizations around the world, especially the multinational company, apart from the corrupt one, because we're going to talk about a particular corrupt one that have just been given a fine here in United Kingdom with a court case that is currently I'm talking about Glencoe. We're going to be talking about Glencoe. Glencoe actually was bribing the NNPC in Cameroon, in Nigeria, and other countries as well. So the London court has ordered Glencoe UK to pay $310 million over bribe charges. This is coming about almost in the last 24 hours. We're going to talk about that when I come back. But how do you expect individuals to respect themselves when court has ordered, according to the president of the Joint Welfare of the Drivers Association? These are bully, intimidating. I mean, I've witnessed a lot of that since I've been traveling back to Nigeria. This Agbero are so powerful that you could get killed. And if you are either a driver, a conductor, or a passenger, if you do not respect what they are telling you to do, you could come into the arm's way.
Okay, Olame, are they like the parking attendants?
Well, I mean, we can call them the parking attendant. Maybe that's the right word, because that's what we look at them here in UK. But in the nutshell, they are more than a criminal than a parking attendant. And it was part of the what Bola Tinubu, when he was the governor, he actually brought this Agbero issue to the front line that we are now witnessing today. I mean, when Tinubu was the governor in Lagos State, during his tenure as the governor of Lagos State in 1999.
So allow me, hold on for me. So what do they normally do? Do they collect tolls? Do they
collect money from the the drivers?
And do they account? Are they collecting on behalf of the government?
That is a question. I mean, the government in Lagos State is meant to be the one in charge of these, but they've actually handed over to a particular individual known as MC Oluomo. Okay. MC Oluomo is now the one working on behalf of the government, known as the park manager. But rather than having a system that works, it has become intimidating, bullying tactics, and this has been going on for almost since 1999. We're talking about almost 20 years of the democracy in Nigeria.
So they are basically operating like
we have them in other states as well, not just in Lagos State. But they've become a very terrible situation, and that is why there is an ongoing strike today in Lagos State since Monday. This is Starr Radio UK, the finest African.
I think they have to be investigated. They have to be investigated, because sometimes some of these things, especially if they are driven by commission, they can act insanely. Olami, let's go to other headlines. Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the news of the the Glencoe, we were discussing earlier. I mean, I've been following the news, and it's very, very almost the same thing that we've talked about, the corruption, and more corruption in Nigeria. According to the London court that gave these order, London court ordered Glencoe UK. And if we want to find out what is what company is this Glencoe, let's give a background to Glencoe because of our time constraint. Glencoe is what we can call a kind of organization that involves in different businesses, from energy to all kind of whatever you can talk about, and they have been in operation for some time. But there's a particular, link to them and Nigeria that is, brought up this conversation, of the London court case that we have witnessed in the last 24 hours. It is the British subsidiary of the mining and trading groups is penalized for 7 bribery offenses in 5 African countries.
Okay.
And Glencoe, as we say, is a British subsidiary of a Swiss mining and trading group. Glencoe has been ordered to pay a total penalty of £276.4 million by the London court for 7 bribery offences in relation to its oil operation in Africa.
Wow.
Glencoe Energy as we have it, UK Limited yesterday, the 3rd of November 2022, ordered to pay, 182.9 million pounds fine by the Judge Peter Frassel at the Southwark Crown Court, who also approved 93.5 million pounds confiscated order.
Wow.
The judge says the offense to which Glencore had pleaded guilty represented corruption on a widespread scale, deploying very substantial sums of money in bribe. The corruption is of extended duration and took place across 5 separate countries in West Africa. But its origin in West Africa oil trading desk of defendant in London, it was endemic among traders on the particular desk. Just to complete it as well, on Wednesday, Britain's Serious Fraud Office, SFO, told the court that Glencore Energy UK failed to prevent the payment of millions of dollars in bribe to officials in 5 African countries. The bribe was processed that went for several years in Cameroon, Guinea, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, and South Sudan. This is Star Radio UK. I guess you want me to come back into the studio.
Yes, allow me. This is a very serious issue, because we know when it comes to bribery, what it does is that it allows people to circumvent, it allows checks and balances to be lowered, the barrier for check and balances to be lowered. I mean, it increases the cost of doing business, and therefore it deprives the citizens of the benefits of this. Now, we know this has just been announced. Since this court case has been going on, Nigeria has been named over there. Are we or are Nigeria pushing for any basically an investigation to be conducted also in Nigeria to find out those who are the receiving end of these huge sums of money?
Well, there hasn't been any official response that I know of, because I've been following these, in the last, 48 hours since, the judgment was coming up. But the Nigerian government have not said much. The NNPC have not released any statement. Maybe by the time we come back on Monday, we might have something to talk about. But when we talk about corruption cases, especially with some of these multinational companies, the question then is, these are more reasons, that Nigerians are in abject poverty, not because, of the, 5 times daily prayer that is coming through, the small tunnel in Ajegunle or in somewhere in Ondo State or somewhere in Benue or Southeast. The judge Fraser said in his sentence remarks, Glencore has engaged in a corporate reform and today appear to be a very different corporation than it was at the time of the offense. I'm not sure what that means by the judge, but it seems also that the company unreservedly regret the harm caused by this offense and recognize the harm caused both at national and public level in Africa.
Okay.
What do they mean by that is what I don't understand. I mean, you've actually done so much damage for those back home and probably those that have businesses across, some of these smaller parts in Nigeria and other African countries.
It's very sad. I just hope and wish that some of these orders, when they take the money, they will say, okay, Nigerians, you suffered.
We're actually flying the cash, through a private jet.
Jesus Christ. I'm just hoping that these monies that are being taken from this company by the courts, some will get to Nigeria and will say, okay, we are giving a 50 million to rehabilitate the hospitals, or probably we're giving 100 million to make sure that no pupil goes to school under 3. And again, we hope that at least Glencore operations in some of these countries, especially Nigeria, if still exists, should now be investigated fully. Because like what the judge said, the culture or there has been reformation, there has been transformation in the company, doesn't mean that they still do not bribe people. If this is what they've been doing over the years, nothing will show. Probably they might not be flying it in jets. Probably they now have to be opening accounts for people over here, just like we saw with the former oil minister of Nigeria. Olami, let's proceed, please.
Afffairs senior chief to settle Fasholati Adebanjo Rao. It looks like, since Tinubu went to Akure, he has created more problems, among the leaders of the Afenifere, both of them in their almost 90s, and it seems there's now headlock among them in terms of who actually is the leader of Afenifere. Afenifere senior chiefs to settle Fashoranti Adebanjo Rao. That is coming from the headline. The leaders of the Apex Yoruba Social Cultural Group, Afenifere, have now agreed to resolve the crisis in the organization following the contentious endorsement of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, and also is All Progressive Congress Bola Tinubu by two leaders. It seems the two leaders, are separating themselves now from the restructure that they've actually clamored for a very long time. They are now endorsing Peter Obi and likewise endorsing Tinubu, but it seems that went a little bit out of where it is now. Omololu has said that the reconciliation meeting will be held at Fashoranti resident in Akure, and Afenifere chieftains and the former Lagos State Deputy Governor Senator Kufurora Akirele says she was not aware of any meeting schedule. So let me break it down so that to understanding of the listener.
Okay.
We have the leader that was Fashoranti that has handed over to Pa Ayodebanjo.
Okay.
But it seems Ayodebanjo under the Afenifere is not running again for the restructure of Nigeria. They've actually endorsed Peter Obi, the Labour Party candidate. But Tinubu went to Akure, where Fashoranti, the former leader, endorsed him, and is now coming back to say, I am still the leader, and it seems there's a row going on that is not...
Okay, Olami, let's get this, because this is very, very important. We've always been talking about people who start a fight with you, who start a cause with you. Some of them would just be in for what they will gain personally for themselves. We know the position of this Yoruba struggle has been that they do not even want to participate in the coming election without reforms. That has been the official position. And our understanding is that these two gentlemen that we're talking about now have been an integral part of that push and the position of what the Yoruba or the Dua nation are saying. But here we are now, someone that is contesting on a ticket of don't reform these things, let's just vote and let me be the president. We've seen them going to endorse one or the other. I mean, what are the Yoruba people, those who have been following these leaders, what are their response? What are they saying?
Well, the leader of the Yoruba self-determination, Professor Banji Akintoye, have actually distanced himself, from this particular group, Afenifere, since the struggle started, because what the Afenifere believe is the restructure of Nigeria that has not come through, since the 1999 election that came back to the democracy that we are running at the moment. But it seems that the Afenifere stand is no longer restructured. They just want Peter Obi endorsement. And the Yorubas that are campaigning for the self-determination have now continued to say that these are some of the reasons why when they say respect the leaders or the elders, the question is, are they respecting themselves, especially playing out to the gallery of these two presidential candidates that has now brought the row among two respected elders among the Yoruba for a very long time.
Wow, that is very, very unfortunate that we have division happening at the top, because I know a lot of people will be looking at. But it's good that the leader of self-determination has actually, or probably someone said he saw a vision, distanced himself away from them long ago. So Olame, the only thing that is unfortunate again over there is that Atiku did not pick up an endorsement from there. Obi has picked one. Obi has picked one.
I don't think any of them trust Atiku to give that kind of endorsement.
Okay, let's progress, please.
We go straight to the social media this morning because of the time constraint at exactly 30 minutes past. And quite a lot of conversation. I was listening to Peter Obi on his Zoom conversation yesterday. While he was addressing some of his followers on the social media through a Zoom conversation that happened yesterday. And it seems that again just the same thing he have said, it can fix Nigeria, but the question that was put there, he was unable to answer. Who gave the audacity for the British government to join us together, and how is it going to solve the problem between the IPOB and the Yoruba that are clamoring for self-determination out of Nigeria? Labour chieftain says Peter Obi is Moses of our time. it will take Nigeria to the promised land is coming from one of the headlines, as well as I have it right here in front of me. Again, Atiku is also congratulating, the Nigerian U.S. Army general. A Nigerian-born Amanda becomes general in the U.S. Army. She was promoted from lieutenant colonel to brigadier general. The question a lot of Nigerians have asked is that if she was in Nigeria, we should be given the same opportunity to become the general in the midst of corruption, nepotism, and the agenda that only men can take Nigeria out of the problem when it comes to Boko Haram.
And someone will say for where?
So congratulations to Amanda as she becomes general in the U.S. Army. Well, that is why a lot of people that are outside are saying that you could be who you are without any intimidation. As you can imagine, imagine the bus driver here in the UK being intimidated by people called Agbero, because the system is not put in the system. That is why we are facing what we are facing. As they're going into the weekend, more campaign for the Yorubas. As this Saturday, it is all heading to Ekiti State, where there's going to be another rally and awareness about the Yoruba Nation, program that is going on there. Not just that, we are heading also to Kwara State. A lot of people have asked all the time whether Kwara State is part of Yoruba land, based on the fact that it has a lot of other ethnic group among it. But yes, Kwara is a Yoruba land, and the chief imam is going to be hosting everyone at Igbomina Parapo mega rally at Kwara State at exactly tomorrow from 10 a.m. and that is the 2 rally that will be held tomorrow, as also more campaign going on on the Zoom, on the offline and inline. But Star Radio UK will be here because we are now less than 100 days to witness something that we've never witnessed. Election or no election, referendum from the Biafra, or a total exit from the Yoruba, as anytime soon the super rally will be announced, according to the news that we are getting from Benin Republic.
That is sounding very, very. Let me say good morning to Tayo Lamina, Prince Bimbola, and also Ayodele. I say good morning and thank you very much for joining us. Olami, before we even go, let me ask, before we go on this Yoruba issue, we know what happened when it came to the issue of the Cameroon people. When it comes to Amazonia people, we know conflicts and others, and soon as you progress, you do tend to have a division. What we've not seen with this Yoruba movement, which for me is very impressive, is that we've not been hearing about a lot of factions that Yoruba this movement number 2, Yoruba this movement number 3, all those kind of fashion, which for me is something that is commendable. And what is the participation like when it goes to some of these rallies? Are we seeing increase in momentum, or we seeing a draw? People are, we know we've been struggling for all this while this nothing's coming out. What is the feeling among those who participate? What can you pick up? I know you're greatly involved in this struggle as well. Do you see momentum going up or down?
Well, let's take a look at the one that the one that happened yesterday. We watched the video coming out from Nigeria when this rally goes out. The question a lot of people that are concerned before is there going to be a war? And it's always been there's not going to be a war as long as the numbers of the people that is going to be part of the movement continue to increase, and that is part of the awareness creation. On Wednesday in Akure, they had the engagement with the pastors in Nigeria, the Yoruba pastor explaining to them some of the reason why the Yoruba should stand on their own as against being part of Nigeria. It is the right to self-determination, but the momentum continue as also the politicians that are still pushing the agenda of let's take the Yoruba into 2023, as against those that are saying that we've been part of Nigeria for 62 years. It is not working for anyone. We can have our own smaller country rather than being told that we are bigger an asset when it comes to the population where Nigeria remains the poverty capital of the world, number 6 when it comes to global terrorism index. 20 million Nigerian children are out of school with adults, and yet the 64 trillion debt on Nigerians today would take 40 years to be repaid, and that would take somebody like me to about almost 83 years old or 84 when that debt will be completed. Countries are broken up peacefully without any problem. Slovakia was breaking off, in a velvet divorce. We saw that. The dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991 took place with 15 countries coming out of it. And one of those countries is Ukraine, that is now giving edict to Russia as of today. So when the Yoruba break away from Nigeria does not mean that we will have problem with the other ethnic groups. But the question again has always been, what do you do with the minority? And the question is, where was the minority before the British changed the whole dynamic? Good.
Olami, before we go, this is to all the Nigerians and even the leaders. My position when it comes to the Yoruba movement. I've always said I do not want people to lead that promising us to get to promised land, and we get there, we realize that they have actually painted that promised land just they just painted as led us over there to practice exactly what was happening in Egypt. We do not want that, and therefore I always would demand that our leaders should be putting blueprints on the ground, and that's exactly what was happening to Obi Zoom call that you were talking about. I've got to a point where now, when politicians, especially African politicians, are speaking, I want to demand how, when, where, some of those critical questions. So if you say you're going to transform Nigeria, how are you going to do it? What have you done to demonstrate that? I think we need to continuously ask those questions to our leaders. That's the only way we're going to get the results that we need. Olami, bury another thing, I'll say good morning to you.
I'll be back again on Monday for more news headline, but stay tuned with Frank for the rest of the program. This is Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. For the weekend moves, music, prayer, and all the activities, stay tuned with Starr Radio UK.
Okay, thank
you. Of Frank.
Thank you very much, listeners. That's been Olayomi. At exactly 12:30, we're going to be having a morning man coming our way. There has been a lot of changes to our this budget, taxes issues that we need to catch up on. So therefore, we're going to be having Mr. Dan Tabra, our resource person, the most gracious, very talented, useful resource person that has been of a blessing to many in the studio. He's going to be joining us live to talk about the budget, the taxes. As you covered, we know yesterday the interest rates were increased to 3% base rate. Bank of England, the highest for over 30 years. We've not seen before. Now mortgage rates are now up on the other side of the 6%, what used not to be the case. A few months ago, interest rates were hovering around 0 point something. That even negative equity banks were even encouraging people paying, all kind of things were going on. But less than a year, a U-turn has happened. So we're going to be looking at that from exactly 12:30. Wherever you are, stay tuned. We're going to be taking this music, and it said all these promises have been given by politicians in Nigeria, in Africa. Is it an illusion or reality? So we're going to go for this one of my favorite tunes, but this is a cover version. It says this is just an illusion. We'll be right back.
I've been told about living like a star, hotel rich, champagne and caviar, but no one ever showed me the reverse, and it really hurts, baby, it really hurts. They try to sell your body,
broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Is the price you pay for rock and roll, and no one understands it, how you feel. Oh, it's so unreal. Oh, it's so unreal.
This is Starr Radio UK.
It's an illusion, just an illusion. I thought I knew what life should be. It's an illusion, just an illusion. Critics crucify your lead show. Another drink and then you lose control.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
There is no return. I'm always on the run. I give it to you, baby, with all my heart. For it's not too late. Baby, it's not too late. Baby, don't you cry for me. Just an illusion, just an illusion. I thought I knew what a lie should be. It's an illusion, just an illusion. Ooh, yeah. Baby, don't you cry for me. It's an illusion, just an illusion. I thought I knew what the lie should be. It's an illusion. Oh, whoa, baby, don't you cry for me. It's an illusion, just an illusion. I thought I knew what a lie should be. It's an illusion, just an illusion.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it, you're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Vedasse.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and intact? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination intact. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Right, thank you very much, and welcome back. Thank you very much, and welcome back to Star Radio. Let me take this quick announcement, quick contribution from our brothers and sisters. Mr. Additional says Yoruba Nation is God design and program. It is bound to manifest. And may someone say hallelujah and amen to that. Inshallah, it's bound to happen. Again, he says, good morning, Star Radio. And Yoruba Nation is a movement running by highly intelligent and sophisticated Yoruba technocrats. Wow, bring it on, Nigeria. We got a man. Princess, good morning. Frank and White Lion, thank you very much. And Terry said good morning to the Kuku and the rest of the team. Like I told you, this after as exactly 12:30, we're going to be having the money man here with us. He's going to be talking much about finance. You know, on Friday, we know we spend a lot over the weekend. That's why we put this program on Friday. We learn a lot about money habits. Today, we're going to be looking about tax issues, even your personal finance. This morning I was reading something. No, I was watching a program, and someone was making a bit of calculation as to the time to use a washing machine, the time to use a tumble dryer, and how much money you can save. I said, wow, I kind of basically that is what they've done. They've studied it and know that if the washing machine is this per hour, and if the energy companies are charging this amount of money, because they have peak times and they have low times during the night, we know there's excess energy and therefore they charge less. And therefore, can we switch some of the things that we do during the day, washing the dishes, washing our clothes, tumble drying, even ironing? Can we switch it to off-peak hours and then save money because you get charged a lot? Or we wait when we are about rushing to church, that's when we run on Sunday morning to iron our things. So basically the person was actually speaking to insurance of what we can do, the little changes that we can make ourselves in the comfort of our homes to be able to save us money. And I enjoyed that piece a lot. So that is what we're going to be looking at in the next 30 minutes. But thank you very much to allow me once again. Let's go straight to what is happening elsewhere in Africa, and then we'll come back to Europe over here, and then we'll go back to finish in Ghana. We're going to be very so we've got 40 minutes until the money man knocks on our door. Guinea ruling junta on Thursday ordered prosecutors to take legal action against former President Alpha Conde. The prosecutors against Conde, the prosecution against Conde as well as other officials and ex-ministers include alleged acts of corruption, illicit enrichment, money laundering, embezzlement of public funds, and complicity. In total, the ministers of justice, Alphonso Charles writes, gave list of 188 names, some of which are already in prison. The accounts are frozen according to the letter sent by the minister to the Attorney General's office. It is imperative to open judicial investigation to clarify the origin of the funds in these various accounts. I 100% support that. Inquiry to find out the source of funds into some of these accounts is something that I will always support. I've always maintained, if you cannot prove, and even there's a law in this country, the law allows the state, the National Crime Agency can knock at your house today, barring any issues about harassment. They can write to you and tell you, look, we want to investigate something. They can ask you, how did you come by this property? The law allows them to do that and empowers them to do that. If you have a mortgage, you're going to prove how you got it. They can do it. It's only that they don't go to those micro level to basically investigate everything. Today, your accounts can be frozen in the UK here, and you can go and find out. If I have, let's say, 100,000, go into my account, let's say you are opening a new account, a personal account, and let's say 100,000 has not come in tranche, a tranche like this before, and it goes to the first thing that the bank has to do as part of its responsibility to check corruption and other things, money laundering, is a bank will first take action to freeze that account. Right? That's what the law says. They take action, freeze that account, and invite me in. Right? Because if I want to access the money and nothing is happening, what would I do? I'll contact the bank, and then the conversation then begins. I then need to provide evidence and justify how I came back all those funds. Okay? If I cannot provide concrete and present an evidential convincing statement to them, what is going to happen? I might have the money confiscated either to the state or they can return it back where it's coming from. In this fight against corruption in Africa, I do think that our banks also needs to play a role. I'm not saying 100,000 comes to my country that they're going to block it, but I'm just telling you that that is a process. Now, when a bank satisfies itself that, look, this guy is in a genuine business, does genuine work, money might be coming from A, B, C, D, and some his account could be $1 million, it could be £1 million, it could be £100. I mean, they allow me because they now can look at the source where the money is coming from. Overnight, we have people who entered politics deprived, impoverished, average men becoming billionaires overnight. One law, and I've spoken about this severally on radio, that one law I want to see implemented or put in place in every country in Africa is lifestyle auditing law. Lifestyle auditing law that empowers an independent body to be able to pick up suspicious information. So Olarimi is building a multi-million-dollar complex here. This is not witch hunting, but we must find a way of correcting the wrong and stopping, putting systems in place that would inform someone that, hey, you don't do it. So for instance, because of that law and the regulation in the UK over here, I am not going to allow any fictitious money that I cannot provide evidence and I cannot justify to come to my account. Look, it doesn't matter who you are. You can call me today and say, Frank, oh, I saw you on radio, I like your voice. You know what, give me your account number and a wire. I want to bless you something. I'm going to ask you first what it is. You say, money, where is it coming from? How much is it? That's why when I get people falling victims to people who, the scammers on internet who say, oh, my father has died, my grandfather has died, my uncle has done A, B, C, D, and I want to share the money with you. Can you give me your account? We do business. And hello, am I your family member? Don't you have poor people around you? You've never seen me. You don't know where I come from. You want to bless me with money when you have poor people around you? Yes, I might be poor, but how about those around you? So I am not going to give you that account because I know the system works. That even if you put that money into my account, you are risking my account, my reputation, my image, and I might even be tagged as being part of a money laundering syndicate. So I know the law works. Can we have a similar system in Africa? Can we help? Can citizens help police it? In this country, I can pick up a phone and say, look, I know this guy who, from my indication, I live in this neighborhood. The guy has just gone to buy a new Ferrari. I don't see what he does. I don't see him going to work. I can report. Any place will come, or they will investigate. And if it is found out he's involved in other things, yeah, they will take action. So a Nigerian citizen can help reform, and I'm happy the way this Guinea ruling class are now trying to move the nation. And I'll pray that every country looks at it and say, hey, you know what? Can we put in place an official lifestyle auditing law? The reason I call it official is because that way we're able to define what is doable, what is allowed, what is permissible, so that people do not say, oh, you know, when we were in school, Olami, probably Adibayo, you used to chase there was a girl I was after, and you were the one who were going after this. Now that I'm in this position, I'm a security officer, now that it's a lifestyle, I'm coming to you, that lifestyle auditing, to come and harass you. That might even give me opportunity to even meet the lady again. Probably you are now married. So basically, people will not abuse it. There are guidelines, the do's and don'ts. You might have to go to court. That can you give me permission to search these people, conduct a lifestyle auditing on this very couple. So if it is formal, I think we can have some sense of decency. But we need it. It's something that I think we need urgently. Now let's go. Trust is vital to implement Tigra's agreement. Olame, in reporting, made mention of, or we spoke about Obasanjo, basically, who was part of that delegation. We know Obasanjo was there, the former president of Kenya, Kenyatta was there, Uhuru Kenyatta was there. We also had the former foreign secretary or foreign minister of Ghana, Tete, Hannah Tete, was also there. And the permanent ceasefire reportedly agreed by Ethiopian government and the forces in Tigray represent a window of opportunity for many Tigrayans. And that's what the report is saying. Such is the case of Andom Gebrisyesu, a 39-year-old refugee who fled Tigray seeking refuge in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. I hope that this will be an opportunity to reconnect with my family. I miss them very much. I don't know where they are. It has been 2 years. I don't know where my father is. I don't know where my other family members are, my workmates, where my friends are. I haven't heard from them for 2 years because there's no telephone or any means of communication, said this gentleman. We pray and hope that this conflict has just come to an end with this agreement, because at the end of the day, the two leaders are not suffering, right? They might be engaged in trying to basically buy arms, looking at strategy, coordinating resources, how to hold the movement together. But the bottom line is that none of their family members is at the front line and will be at the receiving end of any of the bullets. Neither are they going to be those who are suffering from the deprivation that this war has brought on us. I think we need to free ourselves. Yes, I'm going to tell you, Europe has a war. That's a different kind of scenario that we're talking about over here. So let's proceed with our news. Protests, that is in Congo. Protests rage against M23 rebels as discontent against accidental power rises. All right, let's take that. The European Union flag was set on fire in the city of Bukavu in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo as hundreds of Congolese protest against the M23 rebels, expressing their discontent with the involvement of the great powers such as the United Nations, Great Britain, and France. This is a very interesting story, and hundreds of citizens protested in the city in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo against the M23 rebel that they accused Rwanda and Uganda of supporting with the sponsorship of great powers. The president of the country, Felix Tshisekedi, called Thursday evening the youth of this country organized themselves a group of vigilance in the face of M23 rebellion, which he reaffirmed benefit from support from Rwanda. Today, this is working to destabilize Congo, to create a lawless zone, to satisfy its criminal appetites. Continue the president of the country, deploring the very diplomatic initiatives undertaken to ease tension have not led to any tangible results. He also concluded tensions have been particularly high between Kinshasa and Kigali since resurgence last year. Kinshasa accused Rwanda of supporting these rebels, which Kigali contests, accusing the Democratic Republic of Congo of collusion with Hutu rebels movement based in Congo. Right, so that's a very dangerous area. You all remember the war in Congo, and that which happened also in Rwanda. The Hutus and the Tutsis, will not forget, one of the most deadliest wars that ravaged the continent of Africa. Anytime I watch some of the documentaries, what happened in Rwanda, I get in tears. But you see, the Congo issue is a bit different for me because we're now having, okay, look at it. We're now having two sets of countries. We do have a bit of people who support the what they call 23 rebels according to reports in Rwanda. Okay, and Rwanda also haven't gone through its different stages of troubles and others. Also accuses Congo of harboring or still working closely with some Hutus who were part of the massacres that happened years ago. So that trust is lacking, it's not there. But what is very troubling for me now is where we've gotten to a point where presidents, minister, the youth leaders, patriotic citizens thinking about, they can make all kind of noises, but when it comes to the leader Tshisekedi directly accusing Rwanda of involvement, and again pointing accusing fingers at Great Britain, France, with the UN, then it becomes very, very difficult. Because one, the mistrust against these international institutions, not that I trust them anyway, but reporting what has been written and looking at that. The mistrust against this was going to go high. Do not forget and do not be surprised if probably we wake up tomorrow morning, we say UN office in Congo has been burnt down. The French embassy has been torched. The United Kingdom embassy is on fire. All of these things could happen. So when it comes to the president making such allegations, for me, it is very, very serious. But you see, another interesting bit about this is what on a daily basis is going on. Congo see a lot of private jets landing and taking off, apart from South Africa, than any other African kind of problem. Apart South African problem, Morocco be. Why? Because they've created runways in the jungle. And what is there? The mineral resources. It's the mineral resources. Right? So again, like what happened at the Niger Delta where the locals do not benefit. Here we've got that toxic mix with war that is ongoing. And therefore the most vulnerable youth who are recruited, inexperienced, go there, waste their lives. Family members are left with difficult situations. So basically that's the news that is coming from Congo, and I do believe something will be done. Tanzania says Kilimanjaro fire is under control. We'll leave that there and go take the last news coming from Africa. We'll be going back to Ghana later on, but let's take the now Democratic Republic of Congo. Following that news, Democratic Republic of Congo expelled Rwanda ambassador in Kinshasa. Army repairs major attackers 8 journalists in Nigeria. That's why we look at over. I think we push that to Monday. 2 African Americans cleared of Malcolm X medal to receive 36 million US dollars as compensation. They've spent so many years behind the bars. Right, let me take this last news coming from Congo, coming from Senegal. Senegal's main opposition leader and presidential candidate, Ousmane Sonko, has claimed his innocence as he made his first court appearance in Dakar on Thursday to respond to accusations of rape. He has, as you can imagine, contested the facts and has dismissed the accusation. He provided all the evidence of his innocence, said one of the lawyers. The 48-year-old politician who came third in the last presidential election and plans to run again in 2024 has been accused of raping an employee of a beauty salon where he was getting a massage. Sonko tweeted after the 3-hour hearing that he believed it had gone very well. Anyway, so we leave it that way. He went receiving a massage, and we are told that he ended up getting another benefit from that massaging the lady who was massaging her. I'll leave that over there. Look, you and I were not there, so we cannot vouch for them. The only third party that was there was heavens. Allah himself will be able to tell whether it did or it did not take place. It's his words against her words. The one thing that we do know, he was there. The second thing we do know, the lady in question was the one basically assigned to work on him. The third thing we do know, he actually did receive a massage. What we do not know is whether he ended up having sex. And if he did have sex, one thing with the lady, one thing we do not know, was it consensual or they agreed? We do not know about that, so we'll leave that over there. Dine does 99 calls and answered for 10 minutes. That's what we're saying. Yesterday, an inquiry about what they call it, Manchester bombing, also leveled some accusation against our able and hard-working ambulance crew. Now we're having to Southwest, and this is in the UK. Southwest ambulance has the longest waits in the country for the people to get through to the operator. It takes almost a minute on average for ambulance control answer. In fact, yesterday I phoned, it's not the ambulance service, but that's an interesting one again. I was trying to do something. I phoned a company. When I called, I was told I was the second person online. So it's a call waiting system, and the expected waiting time was to be 1 minute. I watched on this phone for close to 5 minutes. Then the number increased. I was in number 2 in the queue. Now I went to be number 2 to be number 5. And this time the number of minutes has increased from 1 to 11. Then not 5 minutes long, I still had another update. I have now been joined in a queue, and now my number in the queue is number 12. Waiting time 20. And I asked myself, is this Nigeria where we pay people to, or Ghana where we pay people to jam the queue? Are we doing this on the phone as well? That I call early and someone is jumping the queue on phone? I hung up. I couldn't take it. Now, but if you call an emergency, and what I was trying to do was very important anyway, I lost patience and basically couldn't continue. He just looked at me and he passed away before they could even get to him. That is what the daughter is saying. So this man would have survived, and I know the experience from my dad. When my dad was about passing away, they called the ambulance in Ghana, and it took them almost an hour to get there. So before they got there, my dad had basically gone. Dad, wherever you are, rest in peace. But that is the true, situation over here, which means that listeners, my advice in these difficult times is if you can, we know a lot of people live as individuals over here. If the ambulance crew are not coming, if you have, I would want to look for someone who knows something about either a nurse or something, one of them to keep as a friend in case of emergency. This is free consultation for you in case of emergency. If you can get hold of them whilst you wait for an ambulance, they might be able to, because the knowledge they possess might be able to save a life. Okay, might be able to save a life. They might be able to guide you to be able to take very crucial and initial steps that could preserve lives. So I will go all the way to have a nurse or someone like that as a friend, or a doctor as a friend actively, and I will explain to them why I need them as friends in case of emergency. Yes, it might sound funny, but it might be able to save life. Man charged with murder over further stabbing. Let's look at that. A man has been charged with murder following the stabbing of a man at the FedEx warehouse. Police were called to the center in Wallaby on Wednesday after reports of disturbances. Philip Woodcock, 60, was found dead with critical injuries and died at the scene. Ronald, 48 of Bell House Road, Sheffield, has been charged with murder and is due to appear before magistrates in Sheffield. If found guilty, send him to life. He's taken a life, give him life behind the bus. Time check exactly 30 minutes past the hour of 12. We're going to go for a quick break pretty shortly in the next 2 minutes. And when we come, we will proceed with a review. By exactly at 12:30, we're going to be making some money. A lot of it. A lot of money. A lot of it. Albanian gangs luring migrants to the UK. That is the story we are being told. Albanian drug gangs are using migrant camps of northern France as a recruitment ground, offering to pay the passage of those prepared to work in the UK industry on arrival. Albanians account for around a third of almost 40,000 people who have arrived in small boats so far this year, according to UK government figures. Senior police and immigration officials on both sides of the channel are worried by the growing role of Albanian middlemen in facilitating crossing. They told us about the different people smuggling services on offer, which Albania acting mainly as middlemen for other networks, often run by Iraqi Kurds who control the small boats. So you now understand. We also traveled to Albania and we saw towns near the capital have been left almost empty, with many young Albanians being lured to France. So Albania is also emptying its country. Posing as migrants, we contacted two Albanian people smugglers advertising for clients on social media, so to do it publicly. Both responded within an hour. We were given option to pay in France before departure or through a guarantor on arrival in UK, and we were given advice on claiming asylum. I will help you cross from Calais to the UK, one said. Go by bus to Belgium, and from there is 2 or 3 hours to Calais by train or taxi. When it's time to go, they will come and get you from the hotel. We were told you won't have any problem. Another told us we would keep you in touch with us all the way through the journey. I will keep you, find you your way, but it's very easy to arrive there. They are going to arrest you for sure, said one. You have to ask for asylum. Only those who didn't ask for asylum were sent back. The others didn't have any problem. You have to invent a reason why you are here. People usually say they have debts problem in general. Well, so having debt problem in general can be a source of asylum. So okay, now let's reflect. These are Albanians. If I am in a cager, can I claim asylum on the basis that I borrowed so much money, my business has collapsed and I cannot pay? If that seems to be a ground, then hey, let's all, in fact, all our families, even Ghana itself is owing. So why don't we say we're all migrating to the UK? And when they ask, I would say, look, our debt to GDP ratio is 104, which means unsustainable, and we don't know how we can survive. So we declare ourselves asylum seekers. I bet our chiefs will be those who take the lead. Time check 70 minutes per the hour. Let's go for quick commercial break, and when we return, we'll be gearing towards the other news item and get the money man on board to give us a little bit of money.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and intact? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination intact. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamb.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamb@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Prampram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prampram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
And that is a program I urge you not to miss. It comes on every Thursday at exactly 7 p.m. Where we look at properties. Bossman Vicky Newton and the team looks at property, how to invest in property, how to collaborate, and what to do. The whole industry, cleaning, setting up with cleaning is part of being part of the property industry. Electrician, what can you do? A masonry, what can you do? So it's not those who buy big properties and probably renovate. They are not the only people. Even a painter, you also in the property business. How do you maximize that? If you are a Nigerian listening to us, do you have a mower? Can you go someone's backyard? That's also property maintenance. Someone's garden, you look at it and say, no, the way this garden has been arranged is not in proper order. I can go and purify that. The rich man probably they could have done, if I put my touch, my creative art to it, probably their lawn might look a bit better. I've seen a design somewhere that I can do. It's all about property business. So they talk right from what they call archaeology of property to the zoology of property. The anatomy of property is all dissected and looked at when it comes to that program. Time checks exactly 22 minutes past the hour of 12 right here on Starr Radio. We go straight to take two news items from Europe, and then we'll jump to Ghana, where an interesting development about the finance minister who is since saying that we should have confidence in him. You're bringing us down. I said something yesterday. Look, when you sit in a car, or probably you have been sitting in a car, the driver that was sitting in, or who has been driving, or the successive drivers, they've not been moving fast. But one thing you know is that they've been on a straight route journey leading to a bit of some progress might not be the way we want it. Now, you're sitting in that car and there was a change, all of a sudden a change of driver. Okay? Which means some of this, another driver took over. In fact, it was a beautiful automatic van that you people were traveling in. A group, a lot of you. Then the new driver pushed the gear lever to R. Before he could accelerate, some of you shouted and screamed, "No! R will take us back." The sycophants in that car and the driver, don't worry, be happy. My driver, I am the driver. Me and myself and my mate, we know how to drive, and by R we can take you that destination quicker and faster. They now push you to a lagoon. They push you to a lagoon. In fact, they've driven the reverse into a lagoon because you were drowned out by the noises of the sycophants. And because the driver had power control over the van, which in this car called economy, they drove you into a lagoon. They reversed, they couldn't see behind them. They reversed into a lagoon. They took the country backwards. Yet the mate and the driver still tells you that have confidence in them. Mind you, you were from a dry land and they've driven you all the way to a lagoon. You'll be very foolish to still have confidence in them. I wouldn't do it. That I wouldn't do it. I'm not going to be able to do that. But I don't know. And any right thinking person, I do not see how they're going to accept such an explanation and applaud and say, "Hey, driver and mate, you reverse us back into a lagoon. We applaud you. We trust that you take us to our destination." That can only be an illusion. Russian attacks leave 4.5 million Ukraine without power. Ukraine President Zelensky accuses the Crimea of resorting to energy terrorism. Imran Khan shocked at attack on Pakistan ex-Prime Minister. Mr. Khan's party has called for nationwide protests after Friday prayers following the shooting. Twitter staff say mass era sackings have started. So the man has started firing. He bought Twitter last week. Immediately fired. Now we have into Twitter staff have started to post online that they believe they have lost their job ahead of an announcement by the company later today. The social media giant says it will inform its staff whether they are still employed after Elon Musk's takeover. Employees are tweeting using the hashtag "love where you worked" and saluting emoji to say they are leaving. Wow. Yes, Agawa, who I believe will be a Nigerian origin, who worked in public policy, said it was the greatest privilege ever to work for Twitter. In an internal mail, the social media company said the cuts are an effort to place Twitter on a healthy path. The firm added that its offices will be temporarily closed, with staff unable to enter the building until they know if they have lost their job. So basically, you are dismissed until further notice. So if the offices are locked, and if you are waiting to be to hear whether you have been hired or not, look, take it technically, you have been fired. If they're going to hire you, they will call you. Anyway, we have 3 minutes to go before the money mark comes. Let me leave that story and go straight. I have been through pains and aches. We understand what we are doing. Well, the scenario I gave you about the driver and the driver mate driving the whole nation or driving a group of people with a bus to a lagoon by putting the van or a bus in the reverse gear, it's actually Akufo-Addo and Ken Ofori-Atta of Ghana, the president and the cousin who he appointed as a finance minister. When they were borrowing like mad, they told them in 2020, they told them to sign on to a program they refused because of what they were doing. They kept on telling us that, look, we know exactly what we are doing. Ladies and gentlemen, let me announce to you that if care is not taken, the next 2 months, Ghana will not even have fuel. Ghana will not even have fuel, because we have it on authority that the 2 companies that Akufo-Addo in his last address last week on the 30th of September promised that they're going to do everything possible to see to bring fuel prices down. Mind you, he said that less than 3 days we saw fuel prices increase. We saw the MPA, which actually helped mobilize or resources, coordinate those activities, writing to OMCs, telling them, look, you now have freedom to increase prices at will. The subsidies that used to be slashed, government cushioning of that has been taken off, which means direct tax increase. That's what it means. That's what it means. And therefore, fuel prices were going on. And I can tell you what resulted into that. Because from Monday, government has been engaging 2 companies that are the largest importers of finished products into Ghana, looking at how they will be able to help the government out. These 2 companies, knowing that the government owes them a lot of money, hasn't paid, have said, no, if you want us to do anything to favor you, you're gonna pay us those extra amount. So the announcement that you heard, the announcement that came from what they call it, the CEO of MPA, was in response to that meeting. We now need to mobilize money to pay those people if we need to have a relief. So that is why you saw that subsidy. So part of that subsidy now will be used to pay these 2 companies. As to whether it's going to be enough to be able to avert what awaits us in terms of fuel shortage, that we cannot say. But the country Ghana is facing a very, very big challenge. Time checks exactly 12:30. We're going to be having a money man joining us. Let me take the last one whilst we wait for the money man. Let me take the last news coming from Ghana. So what we hear now, the Mbate finance minister has spoken about how invested he has been in management of Ghana's economy, citing the accession that he was going through. In an interview, he said he stressed that they were dealing with incessant challenges, and just to assure you that you have his finance minister who, and this is what annoys me more. Now listen to this. Just to assure you that you have a finance minister who has gone through all the pains and aches, and nobody can really come and say we don't understand what we're doing. Ken Ofori-Atta, you know what? Let me hold my thoughts on that. Let me hold my thoughts on that. I think I do not want to. My mom was going somewhere this morning, and I know how much her car we fill it with. This morning, I have a clue how much they bought in petrol to fill that 1.6 liter car. So let me not go any further. Let me leave my comments over there, and then we're going to let's take this music break, and when we come, Mr. Dantabre will be our guest with the money hour. Will be our guest with the money hour. We'll be right back with this tune, which is one of our best. I love this tune, and I know you like it. It's a what do you call it? Listen to it, and we'll be right back.
Came from every nation, every tribe, and every tongue. We call it ethnodoxology. Let's do this. You wanna wave your hand in the air from side to side, everybody.
All right, we're going to be leaving that music over there, and we'll come back to the music later, because I tell you what, we have, one principle in making money: you have to respect time. So we do have our money man himself online, and we're going to go straight to look at how we're going to be making some money The budget have been read, what has been said. Mr. Dan Table, good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm well, by God's grace.
How is the family?
Yes, we are fine. Everybody's keeping well.
Good. We've missed you. All right, but thank God you are here with us today. We're looking at the budget and taxes. Am I right?
Correct. Yes. There have been so many changes that we don't know where we are at any point in time.
Correct.
So I thought we should have a catch up and see what the changes have been and where we are today.
That'll be very great. All yours, sir.
Yes. So good afternoon to all your listeners. It's been quite a few turbulent few months as far as the budget and taxes and our finances are concerned. If I should take us back a little bit, when we had this trust government put in place, and the chancellor, we had a new chancellor, Kwesi Kwarteng, and they set about with their new budget and new plans for UK, which was built on growth of the economy, and their plans were fundamentally based on tax cuts to the UK economy to try and rejuvenate certain sectors, put money in people's pockets, and generate more growth through people spending.
Okay.
And Mr. Kwesi Kwarteng delivered a mini budget. It was only supposed to be a teaser on the 23rd of September, and that mini budget, as we all know today, has now, saw the end of the Chancellor and the government of Liz Truss. And then after that, we saw then a new Chancellor was put in place after Kwesi Kwarteng, and he basically came in and put the axe to everything that Kwesi Kwarteng had changed or reversed, and basically went back on all the measures that had been put in place, all the tax cuts that had been reviewed and put forward, proposed, were all cut back because of the reaction of the market to Kwesi Kwarteng's budget. We saw the pound fall into unprecedented levels, which necessitated that this government made a huge U-turn as far as the budget was concerned. So on the 17th of October, we had a new mini budget statement given by the Chancellor to try and appease the market and get the UK economy, get the interest rates, get the pound, back on a competitive footing.
Okay.
So that's where we are, and we saw the mini budget. We are expecting the full budget to come in. It was meant to be given on the 31st of October, but the new government has requested for more time to present this, and we are expecting this to be presented on the 17th of November.
Wow. So, Mr. Dantable, let's go on those fronts. I think yesterday we saw even interest rates announced on these taxes issues. Should we look at a personal level, or we take from the business angle first? Where do we look at the implications?
We need to look at all of it.
Okay, all right.
We need to look at all of it. So let's look at some of the tax measures that were announced by Kwesi Kwarteng.
Okay.
And what are the revisions, where we are today in terms of all of them. So in terms of income tax, so tax that affects all individuals who are taxpayers, you and I, anyone who works would have been affected. So Kwesi Kwarteng's budget announced a cut of the income tax basic rate from 20% to 19% from April 2023 onward. And the government emphasized that this will save some 31 million people about £170 a year.
Yeah.
Now, this has been reversed, and this cut in income tax rate would not happen. So the basic rate tax would remain at 20%, and the rate is already due to be cut in 2024.
Okay.
But Kwesi Kwarteng brought this forward, but this has been put on hold indefinitely. So the basic rate of income tax will continue to remain at 20% until someone tells us otherwise. And then one of the most contentious tax measures, which was in Kwesi Kwarteng's budget, was the cut or the reduction of the 45% tax rate.
Okay.
So UK tax earners over £150,000 pay a tax rate of their earnings above this limit of 45%. And the mini budget of Kwesi Kwarteng reduced this 45% tax rate to a 40% tax rate. And then the new budget, read by the new Chancellor, has now reversed this, done a complete U-turn, and put the 45% rate back.
Okay.
So nothing has changed on that front, and we are back to where we were last year. So 45% tax rate for earnings over £150,000.
Wow.
Then also corporation tax. There were some issues about corporation tax.
Correct.
So we were expecting, currently UK corporation tax rate for small companies is 19%, and we were expecting from Rishi Sunak's original budget a couple of years ago, we were expecting this to hit 25% from April 2023 onwards. Kwesi Kwarteng's budget cancelled this measure, and interest tax rate, corporation tax rate, were expected to remain at 19%. Following the revision of the mini budget, this has now been cancelled, and UK corporation tax therefore go up to 25% for businesses or corporations, limited companies who earn tax over £50,000. We expect that the corporation tax rate would hit 25% from April 2023 onwards.
Wow.
And then some other measures which were also reversed. The UK government, under Liz Truss government, announced that there will be a restriction or a limit on the amount that individuals or households pay on energy bills. Those who use electricity and gas. And this was planned to be fixed at a level of £2,500 annually. So it was expected that for the next couple of years at least, all households would not pay any gas or electric charges over and above £2,500. Now this situation or this scheme has also been reversed, and we know that at the moment the new Chancellor's measures would only apply this 2,500 up to the year ending March 2023. So from 1st of April onwards, we expect that this will not be the case. The Chancellor has said that the Treasury will lead a review into what measures can be put in place at this date.
Okay.
So as far as we know as of today, that £2,500 limit on our gas and electric bills, annual bills, would not extend past April 2023.
Wow.
So it only covers this winter that we are in at the moment.
Okay, Mr. Dan, thank you very much. Let me go back to this personal tax issue. We know if I had been paid within that week when this was announced, was there any case that some workers would have basically seen a reduction in the rate at which they pay tax within those 2 weeks that we had that tumbling? And if so, what can they do to get? Would they take the money back from them?
Yeah. So no, it doesn't affect. It doesn't affect it. The mini budget didn't affect anyone immediately.
Good.
Because the mini budget was was for the tax year 2023-2024.
Okay.
It was looking ahead from April 2023 onwards. So it had not come into effect yet.
Okay. All right. That's good. Now let me come back to this energy issue. We know, for instance, that government has said that now it's up to 2,005 pounds. I think that has been maintained. Some people have been giving vouchers. Some people have been saying this. Does that mean that if I'm not going to pay more than 2,005, or if I use more, I'll pay? What do I do? Do I claim back from the government?
No. So what happens is that no one would get a bill of more than 2,500 in a year.
Okay.
So if your usage goes beyond 2,500, then the government is expected to pick this up.
Okay. So more like a blank check. Yeah.
Yes.
But the energy companies will have to submit some documents to do that, or probably they can force me.
No, you don't have to submit. Everything is handled at the back end between the energy companies and the government. What you have to make sure is that for the year ending up to March 2023, so April 2022 to March 2023, you just have to check your bills to make sure that over that period you are not paying anything more than 2,500 because the government is supposed to pick up the excess over that. If your bill has been, you have been overcharged, then you need to pick the phone up and speak to your energy provider.
Okay, that sounds good, because we've had occasion where our thoughts has been that although the 2005 cap has been set, if you use more than if you go using gas more than that, you're going to be paying more. Thank God for that. Thank you for that clarification. Mr. Dan, let's go to yesterday. What do you call it? From this budget, we know exactly what happened, the implication on household income. Yesterday, a major announcement was made, which was the interest increment by the. What does it mean to a household that is on credit card? What does it mean to a household that has a mortgage? And what does it mean to a household that probably is thinking of going to buy car on hire purchase?
Yes, indeed. So what was announced was an increase, a hike in interest rate of 0.75%. So the interest rate we had last month had been increased to 2.25%. And this month we have had the largest increase or hike in interest rates for about 33 years now.
Wow.
To 3%. Now, what does that really mean? What the Bank of England have told us now is that, as per their forecast, they expect that the UK to be in a lasting recession.
Okay.
A recession that is expected to last or be around with us until somewhere around March, the first quarter of 2024.
Wow.
That we expect to start to see some green shoots of recovery from this deep recession. What it means is that things are going to be tough. Currently, they've had to increase interest rates because of the high inflation rate. And to deal with that high inflation rate, we know this inflation rate has been caused mainly by issues in Ukraine and Russia, and the lasting impact of the pandemic as well. So unless these factors change, and if we can't expect that there will be peace in Ukraine, and things would improve, then we should expect to still find inflation around the numbers that we are currently seeing, around the 10% mark.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then each of us would need to tighten our belts, because it's very likely that interest rates will be increased further.
Wow.
In order to manage this high inflation, the effects of the high inflation. Now, what that means to households is that people who have loans, who have variable loans, especially on their houses, in the form of mortgages, we are expecting this to go up significantly. So banks, mortgage lenders are going to start writing to their customers to tell them interest rate changes have happened, and therefore this is going to hit each and every one. For this particular increase, we're going to see quite a significant increase in our mortgages.
Wow.
Because of this 0.7% hike. The percentage increase is very high. We have had low interest rates for quite some time now. It went as far down as 0.25%. So this is quite a big jump. Like everything else, as interest rates rises, we should see what's going to happen is that rents are likely to go up.
Correct.
Because landlords are going to pass on the cost of these high interest rates to their tenants. And so we will all start to feel the pinch. So that is the effect that is going to have directly to individuals and to households.
Wow. Well, if I'm in the process of securing a mortgage and probably documents have not been exchanged yet, and let's assume yesterday, before the announcement, we have agreed in principle or something, would the banks be saying, okay, now, Frank, you know what, we told you 4 days ago that this is what we are offering you, but the Bank of England has just changed the ball, and therefore we're also increasing our rate. Would they be allowed to do that?
Correct. So this is a question really for a mortgage broker.
Yeah, but
I believe that if the lender has given you a mortgage in principle and he has given you a fixed rate on that principle, and there isn't a condition that if rate changes, then that will change.
Okay.
Then I would expect that the bank will hold to their promise.
Okay.
But you would have to check the terms of the mortgage in principle. Sometimes they tell you this is subject to a time limit, and it's also subject to interest rates changing.
Yeah, but if you listen to that, we advise that you contact your mortgage broker if you find yourself in that situation. Contact the expert. So, Mr. Dantabre, assuming I'm a household in the midst of all these budgetary changes and all these listras, what should I be looking out for and what should I be doing? What would be the best advice for a typical household like me?
What is going to happen is that the expectation, as the forecast given, if we're going to be in a long and hard, deep recession, I would say things is going to take a while before we see improvement in the economy and things. Most likely, it's very likely that people are going to lose their jobs if the economy is forecasted the way it's going to go. some businesses will struggle with the high cost of energy bills and all that. So we expect that there will be some tough decisions that businesses are going to take. And ultimately, these are going to affect individuals and households. So people would have to review their budgets, review their spending, look at their debt structures, and look to speak to people. If you have, credit cards and things like that on your finances, then you should expect that these interest rates are going to go up. You have to look at what you can do to cut down on the interest rates that you are spending. Do you have any things like moving around your credit card to 0% rate? Talking to, if you are struggling to pay your bills, you need to talk to your debt holders to see if you can come to some form of arrangement where they can give you some payment holidays. Really, you have to be proactive in these times that we're in, looking at your income and looking at your outgoings to make sure that you have enough, you have a buffer to see you through these adverse times that we will find ourselves in. Indeed, they are tough times. Also, look out for schemes in these periods. Government will come out with support schemes to help people who are on the lower end of the income scale, people who need support. There are several schemes that are likely to come out to support people. So look out for some of this information so that you can get yourself some support or some help. And one of the places you can get this information is on Starr Radio UK on a Friday afternoon during the money hour, where we try and go through what is out there, what information is out there to help you out of these situations.
Absolutely. Because a lot of businesses, small businesses, yesterday I was listening to one person who said, look, I don't know how I'm going to survive. I don't know how this business is going to stay here. I employed 4 people, and I'm also thinking if I let them go, they're also not going to be able to fend for themselves. If the government doesn't come with any scheme within the next 30 days, I might have to shut, because my business is just about picking up again post-pandemic, and here we are with this again. So it's going to be really, really tough. And finally, before we go, Mister, if I have a 3,000 in my account and I have a 2,000 pound on my credit card, and that credit card is charging me 19%, what will you advise me to do?
Well, if you have a credit card that is charging you 19% interest,
and you have 3,000 pounds stuck in your account.
Sorry?
And you have 3,000 pounds stuck in your account, what will you do?
Yeah, you have 3,000 pounds in your account. You are probably only getting 3% interest rate. It doesn't make financial sense to do that. You need to look at your debt. You need to pay off that credit card where you're paying 19%. To get rid of that, because the money sitting in your account is not earning you any much interest, and yet you're paying a higher interest on your credit card. So, like I said before, you have to really look at the profile of your debt and make some changes. First of all, to try and pay off any high interest debt that you've got on your account, and slash it down considerably, because otherwise it's going to be very expensive to service, and you won't be able to bring your debt down overall in this high interest economy.
Wow. Thank you very much. So, listener, you heard it. If you have a credit card out there and you have some money stuck somewhere, Christmas is in, if you can reduce considerably how much is on your credit card, that way month on month you save a lot of money, more than paying to this credit card and creditors. Well, that's if it works for you, but again, speak to an expert. Speak to a tax expert, someone who will be able to advise you better and I'm going to get Mr. Dan Tabre to put his details online. If you like, call him. He'll be able to guide you through that. Mr. Dan Tabre, please, if you help us with your details before we go.
Yes, certainly. So if you need any help with regards to your account or your taxes, or you are anxious about any of these issues and you want some guidance, I'm happy to speak to you. My telephone number is 079-6124-8834, 079-6124-8834. Or if you want to reach out to me via email, you can do so at dan@gilaccountants.com, dan@gilaccountants.com, and it's accountants with an S across there.
Mr. Dan Tabre, I would like to say big thank you as usual. Excellent work, good information given, and I would like to say have a great weekend. It's been a pleasure speaking to you once again.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to catching up and delving into more issues as they come up. Keep your dial tuned onto Starr Radio.
Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Listeners, that has been Mr. Dan Tabre, our money expert, talking to us. And importantly, the last bit that he ended up on about a credit card servicing your bill, because there's no point having that money stuck in your account where it's earning you 0.0, sometimes 2%, sometimes 1%, and then you end up, look, consider it, they're giving you 1%, and you end up paying 12, probably 19, 20 credit card, 30% on it. So pay off that bill first. That's the most important thing. But he's put his details online. Please do contact him as usual, and then get some real information. The podcast will be live on. Listen to it once again to get yourself educated wherever you are. Yes, we're talking in relation to the UK, but some of these critical advices that are given can apply to you, your financial planning, wherever you find yourself globally. On that note, I would like to say big thank you. It's been me, Frank Davis, sitting in for Archie Hammond. Time check from our studios exactly 1 o'clock, and we're going to end on this music, the bongo worship. And until then, our DJs will be in with music in the evening. We're going to have a Affair coming in with the Affair show. Thank you very much and stay blessed. Have a great weekend. It's been me, Frank Davis. Bye bye.
Every tribe and every tongue, we call it ethnodoxology. Let's do this. You wanna wave your hand in the air from side to side, everybody. Oh my, 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 my. Say that one more time, say. Ajenawo Adesiade Abuma Globe. Oh, Akatoye Owa Wenyefia Galo. Everybody say Glosia Glo Ajenawo Adesiade time, say Glosia Glo Ajenawo Adesiade Abuma Globe.
get